Tonight's episode of America's Hometown Horror is brought to you by our friends at Fangoria Magazine. That's right, the first name in fright since 1979 is now an affiliate of America's Hometown Horror. And because of that, we can now offer you an exclusive 20% discount on any first-time magazine subscription or merchandise purchase by heading over to shop.fangoria.com and using the code HometownHorrorPod at checkout. That's shop.fangoria.com/HometownHorrorPod, or just use the code HometownHorrorPod at checkout for that exclusive discount on anything from Fangoria. Tonight's episode of America's Hometown Horror is also brought to you by our friends at Horror Facts Magazine. Never heard of Horror Facts Magazine? Well, if you're a horror fan, they're a name that you absolutely should know. You can find them over at horrorfacts.com, and they're a great resource for all things horror, including news, reviews, editorials, and lots of other horror podcasts, not only limited to, but including America's Hometown Horror. So head on over to horrorfacts.com and check them out. Last but certainly not least, if you want to support America's Hometown Horror directly, I would highly recommend you get yourself some tickets to the Hometown Haunts and Hops Horror Convention, which will be taking place at Mayflower Brewing Company in lovely Plymouth, Massachusetts for the first time on October 28th of this year. Yes, that's right, folks, the Saturday before Halloween. We're partnering with our friends over at Inebriart to put this event on, and you can buy yourself some tickets by going to inebriart.com, go to their events page, pull up their October calendar, and get yourself some $5 tickets to the Hometown Haunts and Hops Horror Convention, which is now sponsored by HalloweenNewEngland.com. HalloweenNewEngland.com is the website for the truly Halloween-obsessed, with the most extensive guides to New England haunted houses, ghost tours, classic horror film screenings, jack-o'-lantern festivals, haunted hayrides, and more. They've got all the thrills covered throughout September and October. With over 2,500 Halloween events on their events calendar and hundreds of local Halloween attractions, it's the only place you'll find everything from haunted history tours and costume contests to witch haunts are open on a Thursday night. No matter what you're looking for this Halloween season, HalloweenNewEngland.com has you covered, and we are thrilled to be partnering with them. Now, let's get on with the show. Hello, good evening, and welcome into another episode of America's Hometown Horror. My name is Mike. I'll be your host this evening, and again, new music, new ad read. Who dis? If you've noticed a difference in our sound quality over the last few weeks, thanks to our buddy Shano at Skywheel Media, who is handling all of our audio and music production. I am more thrilled than I ever have been with the way our show sounds, and that is all because of our buddy Shano over at Skywheel Media. I mean, we've got to have something to do with it, with the content that we contribute, but thanks again to Shano for making us sound like gold, baby. And if you're interested in finding us online, you can find us first and foremost on our website, which is ahpod.com. That's ahhpod.com. You can also find us on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, X, whatever the fuck it is. Instagram, Threads, just search for America's Hometown Horror and you'll find us. You can also email us at hometownhorrorpodcast@gmail.com if you want to give us some feedback about the show. But with that being said, if you do want to give us some feedback about the show, the most important place you can do that is by leaving us a review, preferably a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Helps us get to more people and grow as a show. So if you'd be kind enough to leave us a review, we would certainly appreciate that. All right, with that stuff out of the way, we got the full crew back on deck here tonight for the first time in a couple of weeks with vacations out of the way. So Andrew, Matt, Kat, Lady, gentlemen, hello.
Hello.
Hello. What's up?
How's everybody doing?
Fantastic.
Doing good, man.
Dude.
Excellent. Welcome back. Andrew, I know you were gone last week. Matt was gone the week before that. So we got the whole kit and caboodle here tonight. Andrew, how was your little vacation?
It was fun. I had a great time by myself.
Yes.
In Idaho.
Did you have any America's Hometown Horror podcast listeners come up to you in the streets of Boise and say hello and harass you?
At least 10.
At least 10. All right, that's good. That's
they were all like, can you take me back to your hotel? And I was like, nah, I can't do that. Sorry, grandmother.
There's a couple parts of that story that I find to be unbelievable. The first of which that it was 10. It was probably more like 20, and I have a hard time believing that you said no to any of them.
True. That's because there was 0. So I did have a nice little. I went to the Idaho State Penitentiary.
Ah, yes.
Which was kind of a cool little tour there I did by myself.
Yeah, tell us how you wound up there.
So I looked it up. Yeah. So apparently it opened in like the late 1800s. It closed in like the 1970s. Really, it was only open during the day, so I didn't really get any weird vibes there, like ghostly vibes. But there was one cool area in particular. So it was next to their death row. So basically, there's this room with a door in the floor, just opens, and that's where they hang people. And there's like a room down below where people watch, so they're just standing there, and the door opens, and they just and they're fucking dead, and then people just sitting down there. I'm like, that's kind of sick.
Yeah.
Like, this is where you get hung. It was very creepy, like that kind of stuff. I'm like, how many people died in this like room that I'm standing in right now?
A bunch.
And there was like but I didn't get any. Going there at night would probably be wild. Like if you were able to do like a night tour there, but I don't know if they even do that. So
I'm actually surprised that they don't. I would imagine
there must be something.
Yeah. So was it a guided tour? I'm assuming.
I wasn't guided. No guides.
Really?
So I just kind of wandered around by myself, and it's literally like 100 yards from the new penitentiary. So I was like, oh, that's hopefully no one.
So essentially, you were incarcerated, and then they allowed you to wander around the entire prison.
Yeah,
they gave you
pretty
free
much.
reign. There you go.
That was after only one day of being there. They were like, get this guy off the streets. It's causing mayhem.
Nice.
So,
Nice.
Yeah, that was the only like spooky place I went to. So.
Yeah, that kind of sucks that there was no tour guide that you could have asked about, like, paranormal. I'm sure there's some sort of haunted
they do like
stuff over
tours
there.
like certain times, but I think maybe the time I went there was no tour.
Yeah, interesting.
But it was only $8 to get in, and I spent like solid hour there. So
yeah,
it was fun.
Good. Well, I'm glad you had a nice time. Played some golf, drank some beers.
I certainly did.
Bar hopped
plenty.
How was the food and restaurant scene?
Food, I thought the food was good. I drank more than I ate. But there was a ton of places. The breakfast place I went was fantastic. The French fries, all hand cut because Idaho is known for its potatoes. Very good French fries. I could have just eaten baskets of French fries while I was there. Upon baskets.
Survived on French fries for 4 days.
Just French fries.
I only had French fries. See, I should have gotten a baked potato.
Yeah.
But I didn't do like any like fancy like sit down dinners because like that's a weird move by yourself to just go up to like. And plus, I didn't have the clothes for it. Like, when am I going to go in? Like, I was like dressed.
It would have been pretty funny if you went in like your shine down gear and like sat at like a fan. You like took up a table.
Yeah, I'm like, I need a table. I'm not sitting at the bar. I'm sitting by myself. It
Bottom
would have been even
line.
weirder if I went on vacation with my shine through clothes.
That would be really
Yeah.
fun.
And just wore that there the whole
The
time.
whole time.
I thought for sure you would have had like maybe one item of shine through
No,
clothing
I
with
didn't
you.
have any,
Nothing.
no.
Nothing. Okay, good. That's good.
He's walked in with a Phantasm shirt.
There you go.
I'm here
First
for the
day I got there.
reservation.
First day I got there, I was wearing my Phantasm shirt.
That was one of the things I did say in the episodes. Like, if you see Andrew walking around, he's going to be wearing either a Phantasm hoodie or T-shirt,
I should have brought some stickers.
or his what's it called, Mars Attack shirt, or his Creep Show shirt. It was probably one of those. Was at least one of
The
those. was in
Phantasm one was
rotation.
the only one of those that I wore. So
Nice.
because it was a little hot to be wearing long sleeve shirts.
Yeah, what was the weather like?
It was like 85, but
Yeah.
still hot to be wearing a long sleeve
I
shirt.
think you're the first person that I've ever known that has gone to Boise on vacation, or at least the first person that I know has gone to Boise. But I
I
don't
think it was a blast. I recommend it to people. It's definitely worth going.
know. Yeah, but your main attraction, your main draw up there was to go golfing, correct?
Yeah, I only went golfing once.
Yep.
I spent most of my time just wandering around the city. Great walking city.
Yeah.
It's very easy to get around. It can't be more than like 3 miles in either direction. It's essentially like a square grid. Tons of good restaurants, tons of great drinking holes. Almost every beer on tap at every restaurant was a local brewery beer. So that was nice.
Good beer.
Cool.
Very good beer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
And there's like 20 breweries in the area. One of the breweries I went to, it wasn't open when I was there because I was there at like, I don't know, 12 in the afternoon, but they had the other bar open and it has like a full, like, it has like a 9 like putting areas, like putting holes, like greens. It was really cool.
That's
So
awesome.
just bringing like your
Yeah.
putter and just putter.
Yeah,
around
I remember you
for
sent
beers.
us that picture of that place.
Yeah.
That did look really cool. So
Boise, Idaho, surprisingly a low-key tourist attraction.
Yeah, I would
spot.
put it up there with like Portland, Maine.
It sounds like that or like a Denver.
I've never
Yeah.
been to Denver, so
Based on what
probably
I've heard about
similar.
Denver, it sounds exactly the same.
it's probably.
yeah, I've
similar.
heard Denver's a blast. I was actually one of my buddies that got married a few years back. COVID hit. We were supposed to go to Denver for his bachelor party, so needless to say, that fell through. But I know Denver has a ton of restaurants, a ton of breweries, and I guess dispensaries every 3.5 feet. So I think that was the big draw for
Also-
everybody out there.
Weirdest thing, 3 days I was there, I didn't hear one police siren. I was like, where the fuck am I? Also, no traffic.
That's either a
around.
good thing or a really bad thing.
Yeah, like they don't have police.
Yeah.
But like, no, like you could just like, I didn't feel any nervousness just walking around by myself. I'm also a 40-year-old man, so
And you're also just crushing beers
I was
the
also
whole
just
time.
boned, so I obviously didn't
you
hear
were,
it.
yeah, you were the
Good.
problem.
Good.
I was probably the one that there would have been a police siren for me, and I would have been the only one. Damn fucking Yankee, get out of my
Get this
town.
fucking guy out of here.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, good. It's good to have you back. It was definitely it was odd missing one of you guys each of the last couple of weeks. So I'm happy that everyone's back and ready to go. So hey, last episode of August, you guys, or actually when this comes out, it might not even be August anymore. Actually, no, it will be August when this episode comes out. So last episode of August, and then we officially move past Labor Day into the fall, which means that spooky season is a coming.
Yeah, September 1st hits. I'm like, all right,
I'm in the mode.
We're in there.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Dude, well, you already got all the pumpkin spice shit out now.
Oh yeah.
I go to Idaho, I come back, and I'm like, there's no pork truckers anywhere now. It's
Nope.
a jam. I'm like,
Everyone's
no,
shoving pumpkins
damn
up
it.
their
Yeah.
fucking asses,
Yeah.
dude.
Oh yeah.
Pumpkin season.
Sitting on pumpkin stems.
Pumpkin time, baby.
Having a grand old time.
Yeah.
Pumpkin stuff.
A couple things coming your way, either available now or
You like that
coming
one?
soon during for spooky season kickoff. A movie we talked about a couple of weeks ago when Matt was not here. So good news for you, Matt. You can actually now order The Last Voyage of the Demeter on demand at home.
Oh, that's
Cool.
fast.
As of today?
As of today, I believe I saw it. Bloody disgusting. Today, as of this recording. So
Cool.
if you you want to drop the $20 like you were going to the
Oh.
movies,
Oh, wait.
you can
Yeah,
you
I'm
can
like,
rent
I
The Last Voyage of the Demeter at home. We also have the Nun 2, latest entry in the Conjuring verse, coming out next Friday. If you give a shit about such things,
I'd like to see it.
and then something that Andrew and I were talking about before we started recording. I feel like this is flown by, but the two-part season finale of What We Do in the Shadows is going to be available as of this recording Thursday of this week, which I believe is August 31st.
Probably the day this is going to be.
Yeah, probably the day this will be out. Yeah. So if you're listening to this right now, you can probably watch both episodes of the What We Do in the Shadows season finale.
Once you get home from work.
Yep.
Crack open that beer, dude.
Enjoy yourself.
Friday,
And I know we've talked about on a few different occasions how good this season has been overall. Kat and I are a couple episodes behind. You're all caught up.
I'm all
Andrew?
caught up, and it just gets better and better.
Yeah, I got to get that. I will. Don't
Have
worry.
you watched any of it yet?
No.
Oh yeah.
When you do, it's easy.
Dude,
It's an easy watch.
you'll love it. Yeah, it's fantastic.
Remind me, because I keep going to be like, what should I watch? And like, I just end up watching like Sports Center. So just like fucking
There you go.
tell
It's
me
the
and I'll put
season.
it on. Yeah.
I mean, with football. So.
Tis this. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I've been trying to follow all the fantasy bullshit.
Yep, very good stuff up and coming right now. If you're a football fan, if you're a fall fan, if you're a horror fan. Speaking of which, I got a couple of trailers that dropped since the last time we recorded. Probably the most noteworthy one is the trailer for the latest David Fincher movie that is coming to theaters and exclusively to Netflix. It's called The Killer,
Oh, cool.
starring Michael Fassbender. And it's written by Andrew Kevin Walker. And the last time that David Fincher and Andrew Kevin Walker teamed up together, they made a little movie called Seven, which is one of my favorite movies of all time. So Andrew Kevin Walker, since writing Seven, I believe also wrote and directed 8mm, which is the Nicolas Cage movie. He also wrote Tim Burton's Sleepy Hollow, and there was one other movie that he did that I had somewhere. Oh, the 2010 version of The Wolfman with Benicio del
No
Toro.
shit.
Yeah,
I
so
feel like that
he
movie's
wrote-
underrated.
It is.
It's a very good
Yeah.
movie. But did any of you guys watch this trailer
Yeah, I
yet?
watched it when you sent
I
it
did,
today.
yeah.
Very quick, very minimal. You don't really see a whole lot, but it definitely has that Fincher style.
What did I tell you?
That's what
Why would
trailers
watch
need to be.
Yeah, that's the trailer I'd watch.
I'm cool with it though. Yeah, absolutely. I want to know as little about this as possible. I will probably see this in theaters the day.
All
it
you had to
comes
tell
out.
me was David Fincher.
Right? Yeah, David Fincher.
That's it.
Sign me up. I'm good.
I mean, I like Michael Fassbender.
I like Michael
That
Fassbender
Michael
a lot.
Fassbender definitely also.
I think
helped.
this is his first collaboration with David Fincher, so I'm excited. The rest of the cast, I mean, there's a few names in here I don't know. I know Arliss Howard. He was in Mank that David Fincher did last, and then Charles Parnell, Sophie Charlotte, and also Tilda Swinton, obviously big name there.
She's awesome.
Yeah, she's good. She's good. So that's an exciting turn of events there that we're getting some more information on the latest David Fincher release. And in Mike World, we also got some news on
go.
and a new trailer for the latest installment in the VHS franchise, VHS 85, which obviously is going to be taking place in the year 1985 and is coming exclusively to Shudder on October 6th, I believe. Let me double check that date. Trailer, again, very quick, very minimal, which I'm on board with, and it just looks really cool. These are my movies, and I can't wait to see it. And I love that Shudder has an exclusive partnership with these movies now. It's awesome.
Did we talk about that movie Suitable Flesh that's coming out? Did you see
Is
trailer
that
for that, Mike?
the
No, I have not.
one
You need
with
to watch the
Alicia
trailer.
Silverstone?
No, is it her? Is that her name? Is that who that is? Who was it? I thought it was someone else that looks just like her. I thought it was Heather Graham.
Is it Heather
I
Graham?
think it's Heather Graham.
They're
yeah.
the same person.
They're pretty much.
Yeah.
But Mike, this is a if I remember correctly, because I think I watched this trailer like 2 or 3 months ago. and
Yeah,
it was
that
like-
movie looks
It's super
fucking
wormy
nuts.
Lovecraft.
Yeah.
Wormy Lovecraft.
Yeah.
Oh,
So this
there we
is
go.
right. Suitable Flesh. Check out that trailer.
Yeah, good little tease for later on this
Yeah.
episode for Wormy Lovecraft stuff.
Yeah,
But, more on
can't
that in a
get wrong
little
with
bit. And yeah, October 6th on Shudder, you're getting VHS 85. So needless to say, I'll also be watching that the day that it drops, probably right when it comes out.
There was something I was listening to a podcast earlier, another semi-local New England horror podcast, Speak All Evil.
Oh yeah, yeah. Yep.
They do a great job. They're out of Portland. I was listening to their last episode that came out. Actually, I think came out today. But they were talking about some other news, and they said that there's the prequel for Pet Cemetery that's coming out.
Yep, that's
But
coming
there
out
was
as well.
something else that they said. I gotta just let me stew on it, and I'll remember it.
Little marinade
But I was
over
like, I wish I did. I almost texted the chat. I was gonna be like, fucking put a pin in this.
Okay.
Yeah,
'Cause
because you knew
it's
you
a
were going to
good-
forget.
You would like be stoked about it too.
All right. So yeah, definitely think of it in
Yeah.
Texas when you know. You guys have any interest in the the Pet Cemetery Bloodlines movie, which is coming to Paramount Plus? That apparently it's a prequel to Pet Cemetery with
that's what
David
they're
Duchovny.
talking about.
Yeah, no, I know. I'm saying,
Oh,
but
I don't know.
Are you interested in that? Like, are you
That's
excited
supposed
for
to be
that?
Judd Crandall is like a boar.
Okay, so that's kind of interesting. I'll be interested in if they tap into the Wendigo stuff that they kind of
They should.
allude to. In
I always thought in the original Pet Cemetery movie that, and in the book, that Judd Crandall's like account of that kid coming back to life after his dad buries him was like one of the fucking most horrific parts of that entire story.
That's a good point. Yeah, I always kind of thought it was going to be some like watered down, stupid prequel, but I don't know. Maybe
Yeah,
it'll
just
be
this
good.
dude like
Sounds pretty
smoking
sick. I can
butts
get
and
down
like
with
trying to talk normal.
Yeah, right. So I mean, I guess we'll see.
In
We
like
don't
a
have-
mirror.
we don't have to wait too much longer for that one. So
I can't talk right.
yeah, I mean, there's definitely some interesting stuff coming out this Halloween season. I don't think it's going to be as loaded as it was last year, which is the overall theme for this year, 2023. But hey, maybe we'll be surprised by a bunch of stuff. There's still a bunch of movies that we haven't seen. I know we've talked about that. And we'll definitely have a mad dash towards the end of the year to cover our top 10 movies. Before we move on to watch list stuff, you guys want a little bit of an update on Haunts and Hops? We had a little bit of big news drop. So if you follow Haunts and
yeah.
Hops on social media, you probably saw this already.
The
Or
cat's out of the bag. Dude.
maybe
Oh, the
you
cat's
did
out
it.
of the cat.
The bag came out of the cat.
So we already announced our first guest that's going to be doing panels and signing autographs. And that is Matthew G. Taylor, who is a Canadian actor who he played Nemesis in one of the Resident Evil movies. He's been in Boondock Saints 2. He's been in the Umbrella Academy, so he will be there. All 6'7" of him, built like
He's that
brick shithouse, huge guy. We also got an actress from the movie Scream, and her name is Leonora Scelfo. She plays the cheerleader in the bathroom that is making fun of Nev Campbell right before Ghostface pops out of the bathroom and attacks Sidney Prescott.
Yeah, she says Billy Bubba, or her bubble butt boyfriend Billy.
Yes.
And she's like putting on lipstick in the mirror. Like,
Yep.
Yeah.
So definitely a smaller part in Scream, but it's super cool that she kind of sought us out and wants to be part of Haunts and Hops. So
There are
here
no
we go.
small parts, Mike. There's only small actors.
Okay. Yes, that's true.
she doesn't die though.
No, she doesn't die.
Oh.
She's in it for that one.
Survive.
Yeah,
You know what? Maybe.
she's a survivor.
But anyway, we're thrilled to have Leonora Scelfo from Scream coming to Haunts and Hops, which will be again taking place on October 28th this year at Mayflower Brewing Company. So tickets are available. Get yourself some tickets. They're $5 to start, and you can opt for an upgraded VIP package, which will have all sorts of goodies, swag to give away, a lot more exclusive stuff that we can't talk about quite yet, but will be there. So that's a little update on Haunts and Hops.
Pretty good.
Yep, pretty cool.
So it's the episode with George where he decides to play a little showmanship, go out on a high note. And so he'll make a joke. It was with the Kruger in Kruger. So he'll say something funny and he just like, all right, that's it. I'm leaving. So they're talking about Mickey. Kramer's and he goes, well, there are no small parts. There's only small actors. And everyone starts laughing. And he just like walks out. He's like, that's it for me.
I love it. I love that episode. It's a really good one.
Great episode.
Going out on a high note. All right, cool. That's what I got for news, unless you guys have anything else. All right, want to take a quick little break here to pause, pay some bills. We'll be right back with our watch list. All right, and we're back here. And we're going to talk some watch list stuff. I'm sure we got a few different things to talk about here. I know Andrew spent some time on a plane. I watched a movie on Shudder. Kat, I don't know if you watched anything. Matt, I'm sure. I saw one thing that you watched that I would be interested to hear your thoughts on. Andrew, do you want to lead us off since you had a lot of time traveling? Did you watch anything?
did.
I know you probably listened to a lot of Radio Rental. Is that what we keep talking about each and every week?
to a bunch of Radio Rental. I think I got up to like episode 18. And none of them really stood out other than the ones that you had already like showed me. There's a lot of good ones in there, but there's none like that were like very memorable. I was also on a plane staring off into space while I was listening to it. So I may have like missed, like, I think I probably fell asleep. Like, it was good to fall asleep too. Cause I'm like, not cause it's not entertaining.
Yeah.
But because it's just silence and like deep. It's just interesting. It's storytelling. Anytime someone's telling me a story, that's why I don't read books, because I'm going to fall asleep.
Sure. Especially on a plane.
Yeah, which is very difficult anyways. So I listened to a lot of that. I watched Pope's Exorcist.
I think I saw that Matt watched that as
Did
well.
you watch that? What did you think?
It was like very much okay.
Yeah. So I thought it was plenty
It
entertaining.
steals so
Russell,
much
it's-
directly from The Exorcist that
there's
it's almost laughable.
it's not really unique in any manner speaking.
Yeah,
It's
I'm not surprised by that.
pretty much everything in that movie has been done. Russell Crowe was fantastic.
Russell Crowe did
I don't know.
do a very
I don't
good
know how
job.
he learned to speak Italian all of a sudden. Like when did that happen? Like,
I probably had like a dialect coach. He
it's-
probably just
like
yeah.
no, but he spoke like a lot of Italian in this movie. Like it's
The soundtrack was out of control.
yeah. I didn't mind.
It's like a lot of like 80s like
Yeah.
alternative rock.
Okay,
It doesn't really.
But it's just like it's like
it's
like
just- I know what
1987 like Rome, Italy.
It's just out of place.
Yeah.
weird. Yeah.
It was entertaining. I will never watch that movie again. I will never think about that movie
Yeah.
again. It was just another movie.
Oh yeah, that's right. I know your brother and your dad both really liked it a lot.
I think Jeff really liked it, and I think Seth probably thought it was fine and just didn't want to be like, Dad, the movie sucked. Shut up. 'Cause my dad likes anything because he's old and just watches. Oh, like a movie. I like that.
My dad is the same thing. He's been like dying to get me to watch this movie for like 9 months, and I like read this. I'm like looking at the reviews. I'm like, dude, there's no way this is a good movie. Like 2 hours long. I don't even remember what it's called.
That's a big commitment when you go into it. You know that it's
Like
not
my
gonna be
dad loves
great.
it. I'm like, yeah, this movie's probably
That's-
terrible.
Sorry,
Here's like
sorry,
a
Dad.
Point of reference. Any movie your father has seen after the age of, I don't know, 60,
Oh, dude,
call
he
it,
like yeah.
it's not worth watching. It's not going to be that good. Like, I'll take their word for movies that came out when they were like in their 20s, 30s,
Yeah.
40s, like when they had a brain that wasn't like, no, I'm just kidding.
He like he put
Love you,
on he put on some like Ryan Reynolds movie a few weeks ago. I was like over the house with Layla, just kind of like hanging out in the morning for a little while, and it was some like Safe House movie or whatever. I think that's
Oh,
what
I
it's
know the
called.
movie. Yeah, I know. It's I think Denzel's in that too.
But he might be, but either way, it was like he just was like sucked right into it, and I was like, Jesus Christ! Like I was just like, I don't know, dude. Those kind of he loves like those like PG-13,
Just like
light R-rated,
Yeah.
like action movies from
That
like
sounds about-
2009. I'm
Okay.
like, yeah,
that actually just reminded me too. So you know Uncle Bruce. I don't think you've ever met Uncle Bruce, but he's now 80. So this was probably he must have been like early 70s. So Vietnam War veteran. Guy goes up on his roof at 80 to like fix like chimney caps in like 90-degree heat because he's out of his mind. And I go over there one day and he's deaf as ever. So he's got his headphones in and he's watching a movie. And I'm like, fucking watching Twilight right now, dog? Like, what are you watching? And he's like, oh, I've read all the books. I'm like, you've read all the books? The fuck is going on? He loves it. Absolutely just loves it. Anything.
Twilight.
I feel like anything vampire, he loves everything. I'm like, are you watching Twilight? Like, what else do you watch when no one's looking?
Oh my
Right?
God,
yeah.
that's
It is funny, but no, yeah. My dad always just crushes those kind of like off, like just like C or D level, like
yeah.
mid 2000s,
It sounds
2000s.
me and your dad.
Yeah,
sound
I've
like
seen
very
that movie.
similar movie
Yeah,
taste. Yeah,
And it's, I've seen a movie and it's a movie. It's nothing.
Oh yeah.
You're like, Cat's gonna come
He's
over
all-
and
even when I was a little
I'm
kid,
just gonna
like
go.
well, even when I remember being younger, he always was watching like whatever was available on like the free on-demand movies, which was trash back then.
Yeah.
And he's just like, "Yep, I'm gonna eat this up." Like, man,
Oh,
thanks.
this
God
garbage.
bless him. Whatever. He
Yeah,
likes
you
to
know what?
like.
Yeah, he's a good guy.
Freeze for me.
Would have never had Uncle Bruce
I gotta
watching
say, that's like
Twilight
a-
on my bingo board.
That's,
Though, I have to say.
but that's like a super power to just be able to watch any trash movie and just be so enveloped in
Just
it.
dude, he
Yeah, I
just
kinda
you know what
wish
it
I
is?
could.
It's just like I think it's just like he's just like this isn't work. This isn't. He's just like
This is mindless
Remember
as
now.
fuck. It's mindless.
Yeah, beautiful. Well, good for him. Good for everybody that has the same superpower, I would say.
all right, let's tell him we give him a shout out.
So you
I
watched
know Jeff doesn't listen to this, so I
Pope's
don't have to worry about it.
Exorcist. Anything else besides
Pope's
that?
Exorcist. I rewatched because we've been talking about Christopher Nolan movies, so I rewatched The Prestige. Forgot how fucking much of a banger that movie.
It's a good
is.
movie.
Love that movie.
Yep.
Fantastic.
Very underrated.
Is it The
I-
Magician?
Yep.
Yeah, with
Yeah.
Christian Bale.
Christian
and
Bale.
Hugh
Yeah,
Jackman,
I know that man. I know that
Huge
movie.
ass man.
Huge
Yeah,
ass.
yeah, that's
and
a good
also
movie.
Scarlett Johansson's in
Yeah,
it. Very
yeah,
nice.
that's
I
a good
forgot she
movie.
was
I
in
like
that.
that
Yeah.
movie.
Okay.
Yeah.
One of your favorites.
Yeah, when she's fucking.
I know. She's a lot of people's favorites for sure. Anything else?
I watched John Wick 4 because gotta watch the final John Wick. I know you haven't seen any. Have you
Haven't
watched
seen
any of
them
those
yet,
movies?
no.
I saw the first 3.
Oh, okay, so
Yeah.
the new. I saw the newest one.
I've seen a couple.
Skarsgård's in it.
Yeah.
Bill, Pennywise, Bill. Is that Bill?
that's
Mhm.
Bill Skarsgård.
That's Bill. Yeah,
Yes,
he was very good in it.
one of the Skarsgårds.
Yeah, I mean it's your typical John Wick movie, except I think he killed 800 people in this movie.
That sounds about
It's
right.
out of control.
I know.
I'm
Everyone
going
keeps
to
telling me that I need
God.
to see these.
Oh,
This
good,
was
yeah.
this was the weakest of the four, I think,
No shit.
because it's the fourth one. But no, I think two's better than one.
Yeah, 2 was sick. 2 is probably the best one.
Yeah, two's
Yeah.
definitely like
3 was
usually, like-
3. I was like, all right, this is.
Yeah, it kind of got to the point, but one was awesome, but two was better. Very
Keanu Reeves is hard to take serious. I like Keanu Reeves. I like
I don't
all
know
the
if you're
cool things he
supposed to,
does, but he's just like, I'm like, is he supposed to talk like that? Like,
Is he faking it, or is that how he
Yeah,
talks?
tired
Is
all
he
the time.
supposed to do
Well, I
that?
mean,
Yeah.
he's getting
Wrong with him.
chased and shot all the time, so he's probably.
I'm going to need it.
I just remember how much shit he took when he was in Coppola's Dracula movie, Bram Stoker's Dracula with Gary Oldman, and he was just doing the Keanu Reeves voice as Jonathan Harker.
Just being
Yeah.
Bill from
I
Bill and
say,
Ted.
is the castle
Or
far?
Ted.
Trying to be like a British guy, but it's just
God.
Keanu Reeves. Fucking pretty wild.
I think that's what makes
Dracula.
Keanu Reeves the best.
I say, are
You want me to
Now-
kill a vampire?
anything
I'm a
else?
boy.
He talks this. He has the same way he talks in this as he talks in Constantine too. It's like identical.
Constantine's a great movie. though. I actually
Constantine is
really
pretty
like
hardcore. That's
Constantine.
how I
Yeah.
told
The
this
second
one
one's
movie.
coming. Yeah, she's awesome in that movie.
I actually can't wait for that sequel. I'm glad they're bringing him back for that.
He's probably just happy to do something other than fucking John Wick. That's got to get old.
Yeah, I
Doing
mean,
the same movie where you just have to do all these fucking
crazy
karate stunt
Yeah.
action moves.
kind of giving him a big time career renaissance, though.
because he's got to be close to 60? No,
Oh, he can't be
dude.
that old.
No
he
way.
looks old as fuck.
No, he doesn't.
Keanu?
Yeah, he's probably not.
No, he's
He's
probably
not
like,
that
he
old.
might
He's
be.
probably
I'm going to guess he's 52. Yeah.
52, probably. Yeah.
I can tell you right now.
I mean, he's closer
Keep
to
vamping.
60 than I am, so that's
Yeah.
He's got to be 60.
Keanu Charles Reeves, born in
38.
1964, ages
Oh, he's
58. So
58.
Andrew
58.
was
Shit, yeah, he is
not
old as fuck.
wrong. Do you know Keanu Reeves was born in
Old as
Beirut,
fuck.
by the way? Beirut, Lebanon. Did not know that.
Yeah.
To be doing what he's doing, that's old as fuck.
I mean, he's got stunt doubles.
I think he does most of those stunts.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
he
he
probably does
does
a lot
do
of
a lot
ones
of his
on.
stunts.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I saw a video of him like.
So does
Tom Cruise.
Tom
yeah.
Cruise
He's
does.
like,
He's-
and he's
But
like
he's a-
65.
I know he's a reptile though. He's a fucking
yeah.
Yeah,
He's a
Tom
reptilian.
Cruise is a that guy's a maniac. He like hangs like from a helicopter from like his nuts.
Yeah.
That's insane.
He's out of his mind.
That guy doesn't give a fuck.
He bungee bags with his actual bat. No, no,
Yeah.
he bungee jumps with his actual.
Absolutely
Fucking
out of his-
ruin that
out of his
shit.
Bungee bags.
Bungee bags with his ball bearings.
They're like, Tom, we have
And I thought
we
that
have
was-
ropes. He's
I
like, no,
think I-
use my nuts.
I mixed bungee jumping with bean bags and came up with bungee bags.
Please
Bungee
use my
bags.
nuts. I want to feel something.
Oh, God. Oh, where would we
Bungee
be
bags.
going?
What are we talking
Yeah.
about?
Is he still married to Katie Holmes?
Bungee bag.
Remember when he's jumping all over
No,
Oprah's
God, no.
fucking
They
kids?
got divorced a long
Yeah.
time ago. I
He
think.
showed up on
Did
Oprah and
they?
started like
Yeah, well, he's
Fucking
a fucking weirdo Scientologist.
I think he's like. I
boxing
think he
pillowcases.
I'll look
is.
it up. I'll look it up.
I think he's perpetually single now. If I had to guess.
I don't think
Yeah.
there's a person on earth that could stand to be with him for longer than like 5 minutes. He's probably insufferable.
Oh, yeah.
yeah, dude, he probably is. Now that I think of it, he is kind of like a little fucking freak.
Oh,
He's like a 5'4"
Oh, yeah.
fucking Napoleon Dynamite.
He was only-
Napoleon Dynamite.
He was only married to Katie Holmes from 2006 to 2012.
oh, I
That's
can't
6
believe it
years.
even
It's a good
lasted
run.
that long.
Yeah.
6 years. That's because
I just laugh at him.
Like LinkedIn. He's like, you're staying.
He was longer.
I just
with
laughed at
Nicole
his
Kidman.
little fucking episode on
Yeah,
Oprah, dude.
Oprah, yeah.
Oh.
Totally realistic and not at all made up and
Running
yeah,
around on
contrived.
couches
Yeah.
and shit,
He
doing
was
like
married
flips.
to Nicole Kidman. For
He like came
11
in that
years.
episode doing
Yeah,
like
when they did
kickflip on a
Eyes Wide Shut, the
skateboard,
one before that, where they were like in Ireland together, like in the late 80s. What the fuck was that?
rollerbladed in.
Mike must know it.
What?
The Tom Cruise.
Tom
Yeah.
My God, I can't. Tom
Bean
Cruise.
bags.
Cruise. Nicole Kidman movie from like the late 80s. Like they live in Ireland. It's like before Eyes
You're not
Wide
thinking.
Shut.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if I know that one. It's I always say Eyes Wide Shut's the only
I
movie
think it
I've
was like the
two of them
movie that
together.
like gave them both like the fame.
Stardom.
Yeah.
Stanley Kubrick's nod of approval.
Mm,
I don't know, dude.
yeah, I'm not sure.
I don't like Nicole Kidman.
Kidman.
Something about her
Yeah.
just.
She's a reptilian too.
Yeah, she's
Probably-
got. she
Maybe they
looks
were
like
both
something.
reptilians. That's why they started out together.
And that's why Stanley
Maybe.
Kubrick's dead.
That also is a possibility.
Far,
He
far, far and away.
Far and away.
Caught
that's
you
the
off
one.
surprise.
Far and away. There we
I
go.
bet you your mom's seen that movie. That's a mom movie all day through and through.
Far and away.
Oh, I mean,
It's got Tom Cruise in it. Like when he's like.
So does Mission Impossible.
back
My
when-
mom doesn't watch that.
back when
No, but it's just like a love story type.
back when people
Yeah.
thought that Tom Cruise was like a heartthrob. Interesting stuff.
instead of like a mouse.
Mm.
But that's
Right.
They're a vampire monster.
3 hands higher than a duck, as my dad would say.
3 hands.
Oh, yeah,
What does that even mean?
That's
Like you're
just means
short?
you're a small person.
Oh.
Yeah, that's
That's
a big
gotta
Mike.
be like-
Big Mike saying
That's gotta be
from
like
way
a
back.
that's gotta be like a 3-foot person.
Oh yeah, 3 hands. Yeah, it's like really really small.
How big are you? I mean, I have little
All right.
hands.
What kind of duck?
Any horror movies other
Oops.
than what you already mentioned, Andrew, that you watched? We're done.
All right, so there's nothing wrong with mentioning John Wick.
No, I'm not saying. I'm saying
there's
we're
one-
way
there's
off topic.
one
I was
more
trying to bring it back in.
Okay,
that's all.
so I did watch Trainwreck, the 1999 about
1999. That
the Woodstock 1999.
Oh,
yeah,
that was
dude.
entertaining. Not horror, so I'll just say
It's-
that.
That's kind of
pretty
horrifying.
Yeah,
That's pretty
it's
horrifying.
pretty-
I
it
would
was
have
an
died
awesome,
if I had
awesome
gone there.
documentary.
I would
Yeah,
have
there's
13.
2 of them. There's one on Netflix and HBO.
Could you imagine if your parents, you're like 14, they let you go there? Like fucking insane.
Yeah,
Well, I know
I mean, there's some not so fucking chill shit that happens.
No, definitely.
No,
not.
that's-
I know.
yeah,
we
that
know. We
is-
know a few people that have been for sure,
Yeah.
and it was apparently crazy. Supposedly the HBO one is fucking trash. Not
Oh, is
surprised
it?
because it's produced by Bill Simmons, that fucking dork who I can't stand.
I watched that one first, and I was
Yeah.
like, wow, that was a lot. And then the Netflix one came out, and that one was better.
I just heard that the HBO one, like pretty much, it's however long it is the whole time that is blaming Limp Bizkit for everything,
Pretty
for showing
much.
up and
Oh,
being Limp
really?
Bizkit. Yeah,
That's
Or
the
corn.
stupid.
I thought
Instead
it
of the
was
people
corn.
No,
that
it's
put
Limp
it
Bizkit.
together, what are they,
No.
idiots?
yeah.
Bill Simmons is a turd.
He's a
You're
turd.
right.
He's a turd and a dork. So fuck Bill Simmons. Running theme of this podcast.
One other horror movie, but I feel like it would be better to wait to talk about the other movie that I watched.
Yeah, you should wait for that one. I know the one you're
Yeah.
talking about. Matthew, anything else besides Pope's Exorcist that you watched? My friend?
Yeah, I actually
One
watched some
for
kind of fucking crazy movies. Well, one, I was not too crazy of a movie. It was actually a Wes Craven movie, The Swamp Thing.
Ah, yes.
This was on Tubi. I was like, oh, I'll watch something different. Adrian Bordeaux is in
Barbeau, yes.
Barbeau.
Yep.
it.
John Carpenter's ex-wife.
Yep. Yeah, she was in The Fog too.
Sure was.
But Swamp
Great
Thing,
show.
it's a PG movie. It's not that like over the top. Wes Craven kind of was like dipping his toes into like chilling the fuck out a little bit after like Last House on the Left and Hills Have Eyes and like all the other shit that he did that was just
Oh, yeah.
just fucking brutal.
Yeah.
So this was okay. It was kind of like just something different. And then I really went over the top and I went into a Japanese film called Grotesque. Just a pretty much like Saw Hostel level
Yeah.
Japanese torture
I was
porn
going to
movie.
say, I'm sure that was fun for the whole family, probably that one.
It was like an hour and 10 minutes. Had an interesting kind of like spin on it. Like a lot of like Japanese movies do. There's always some sort of like thing. And it was about like a couple that just started going on a date and they get kidnapped and basically like forced to like die for each other. So it was a weird like kind of pin against each other and like this sort of like awkward like early dating phase situation. But it was fucking just brutal. And then another really, really interesting one. This is from I think it was 75, called Ilsa, She-Wolf of the SS.
Oh.
And
I
this,
saw something for that. What was that on?
I had to find it. A guy that I work with was talking about this a few months ago, and like something came up about it, and I was like, oh, you know what? I'm gonna like search for this and like try and find it. So I watched it on like a crazy hardcore movie website. It's called effedupmovies.com, like EFFED.
Some dark web shit.
Not even that. It's just like a bunch of like,
I'm kidding.
like a bunch of just like foreign movies and just like movies that have been banned around the world. You can watch like Dead Alive on
Did you
there.
pay for
Like,
them?
Oh, yeah.
No.
Really? Oh,
they're
that's
not in
sick.
great quality, but
But you could,
so this movie is about this lady Ilsa who is a like Nazi general, and it's basically just like war crime experiments on prisoners and this, that, and the other thing. Fucking super over the top. She basically bangs like soldiers and like ropes them in, and then they take them and they fucking like just do fucked up shit to them.
I mean, at least you get that as your last experience.
super like 70s grindhouse exploitation
Sounds like it,
type deal. Worth the watch if you're trying to just watch something that's fucking crazy. It's just big boobs, gore, and fucking World War II.
Sign me up.
And he's like, what's the name of the website again?
That sounds like the
Well,
best
there's a
movie
lot of like crazy movies I've watched on that, and just every once in a while I'm like, you know what, I could go for something that's just totally fucking over the top.
Sure.
That might end up working its way into my my blog at some point. Probably not. It's not. I don't even know if it's worth it. But and then Pope's Exorcist I watched last night. I don't know. Just it was fine.
Okay.
It's just like definitely not like doesn't deserve all the hype that it got. I think people just saw it because it's like Russell Crowe Exorcist movie.
Oh,
But
you
it's
know-
just like, dude, like so much shit is just
Yeah.
like you watch it and you're like, The Exorcist, like it's a blatant steal, like the writing on the kid's chest happening and like the only thing they didn't do was have the kid's fucking head spin around. It's like
it's
they
pretty
did
much the
everything
same.
else in between.
Yeah.
Like, so it wasn't.
So no points.
I was not
no points for
impressed.
being original.
You know who
But
actually
Russell
had a
Crowe's
good performance in that movie too, even though he wasn't actually in the movie, but he was the voice of like the demon that's coming out of the kid. It was the same guy that was the dad in The Witch.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I was watching it. I was like, I know that fucking voice, and I like looked it up, and I was like, it's that guy.
Yeah.
Also, the mom was the girl from Starry Eyes.
Oh, okay. I like her.
Wow, I didn't even realize. Yeah.
Yep.
That's interesting.
That is cool. And
I
you
love
know
that.
what? She's she also plays Wendy Torrance in Doctor Sleep.
Sure does.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, same girl.
Sure.
Alex Esso, I believe is her name.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Of course, Mike knows the name of this person.
Of
Yeah.
course I know. Yep.
But yeah, no, I was watching right off the bat. It shows her like in a car scene like early, and I'm like, oh, that's the fucking girl from what's it called? Starry Eyes.
Starry
Didn't even
Eyes.
realize.
I liked that movie. That
That
movie
movie's
was
awesome.
Starry Eyes is good.
crazy.
I love
Starry Eyes
that
is
movie.
good. Yeah.
Underrated as
Yeah.
fuck.
Absolutely.
I was late to the party on that, but that's that's all I got.
Cool.
I got Japanese torture porn, Nazi exploitation, grindhouse,
Sounds about right.
and then
for
a
an average
mainstream
Tuesday.
Italian Russell Crowe.
fucking
Nice.
theater movie.
Good
Yeah.
combination. Catherine, anything that you'd like to report on that you watched?
I watched more Jersey Shore.
Of course you did.
I can't stop watching
Yeah,
it.
it's
It's
addictive.
so
It's
good. It's
crack
terrible.
television,
It's
yeah.
awful, and I love it. It's
Anything
man.
more horrifying than New Jersey Guidos that you watched over the last week?
No,
No. Okay. That's okay. Glad you're enjoying Jersey Shore.
thank you.
You're welcome. Although I have to admit, I am obviously watching it with you because I live with you and we're watching it together. And it definitely is trash TV addictive. I was never into Jersey Shore before in my life, but they are just so dumb and they're all train wrecks. It's fucking nuts. Now to think that they're all like around our age and all have kids, it's just insane too. Like they're normal functioning
that's
adults. We'll define normal functioning, but they're adults technically in the loosest sense of the word. So
Yeah, because that's one of those shows too where I'm like, yeah, maybe you're playing it up a little bit, but that's definitely who you are.
That's you.
That's
like you are that bad
You
of a guy.
are a piece of shit.
Oh,
You
yeah.
have that slicked back hair.
They used to be pieces of shit and are still pieces.
Yeah.
Their hair is still slick.
Still
back.
slicked back, way the fuck back. Sloppy steaks and chicken spaghetti from Ciccolini's all fucking day. Absolutely.
I've been dying. There's TikToks that were.
What do they
that
say
now-
in South
see
Park?
those?
What do they call people? Muff cabbage?
Oh my
Muff
god.
cabbage.
You
muff cabbage.
Yeah,
That's
so
awesome.
good. So I did watch one thing that I did actually. Andrew, you were asking for movie recommendations, and I did recommend this one to you. And I'm glad that you did not watch it because I did not care for it. This is called Bad Things. It's on Shudder.
I've heard.
I
mixed
looked it up
reviews.
and I was like, no. thank
Yeah, so this basically, how you were describing The Pope's Exorcist as a ripoff of The Exorcist, I wouldn't go as far to call it a ripoff of The Shining, but it is very much towing the line. The best way I could describe this to you is that it is a gender-flipped version of The Shining, where the Jack Torrance character is played by a female.
Jill Torrance.
No Torrance, but it's so basically the story is it's four friends, younger people, like college age, four friends that basically the main character inherits this old abandoned ski resort hotel from her grandmother who died. And right when they get there, it's implied very heavily that this girl that inherited the hotel from her grandmother has a very bad relationship with her mother, and that her mother might not have been the best mother and might have left her abandoned in this same hotel as a child when she was like very, very young for like several days. So you have that whole element going on. And then in addition to that, once all the friends are there hanging out, they're doing like one last party weekend in this hotel before they're trying to decide if they want to sell it or try and spruce it up and rent it out. And all this potentially supernatural stuff starts happening. Maybe not, maybe it is, maybe it's just all in people's minds. But like, I'm talking like everything from like the font in the opening titles is ripped directly from The Shining. There is a pair of twin characters that continually show up in the hotel, just like in The Shining. There's a killer that runs rampant towards the end, just like The Shining. So it definitely wears its Shining influences on its sleeve, which I think is what attracted me to seeing this movie in the first place. And obviously it's new to Shudder, and when something gets new to Shudder and is hyped up a little bit, I'm interested it just wasn't necessarily for me. It was okay, but if you like The Shining, it's worth maybe checking out. It's quick; it's like an hour and 25 minutes, so it's not a huge,
That's always good.
time suck. But it just wasn't necessarily my kind of movie. It was trying to pay homage, but I think it was a little bit too much trying to pay homage, and I didn't think the story was all that interesting, to be honest. Potentially the most interesting part about it is that Molly Ringwald is in it, playing a couple of different characters. So yeah, there's that. But I mean, hey, if you have Shudder, you want to check it out, check out Bad Things. Like I said, not the greatest movie in the world. I didn't hate it, but it just wasn't necessarily my cup of tea for what I usually look for. So that's Bad Things on Shudder. All right, guys, got anything else we want to talk about? All right, why don't we take a quick 90-second break here for a word from our sponsors. We'll be right back to talk some Re-Animator.
It's official. The critics' decision is in.
Spooky World is spectacular.
Enter the new black hole.
If you dare.
Or the new horror House of Wax. This year, don't miss the real Jason, Bobby Pickett, or Alice Cooper. Phone the 24-hour Spooky World hotline. 508-838-0200. That's 508-838-0200. Spooky World is just west of Boston and haunts every night from October 1st till November 1st. If you had the nerve, you'd phone 508-838-0200.
It's America's horror theme park. Spooky World.
Don't be scared. I'm the super sweet monster with the super sweet new cereal, Count Chocula.
Biffle, here's the super sweet new cereal, Frankenberry.
But I've got chocolate sweeties for monstrous chocolate flavor.
Well, I've got berry-flavored sweeties for monster strawberry flavor.
Count Chocula.
Frankenberry.
Hi.
Frankenberry.
Count Chocula.
Sleepy flowers.
Alive! It's alive! It's alive!
The new face of evil is going to scare you to death. Barrett's Haunted Mansion. It's a killer this year. Then right next door to the Abington Ale House. Barrett's Haunted Mansion. Eat, drink, and be scary. Go to bhmansion.com.
And we're back. Welcome back. So we are talking, as I mentioned before the break, we're talking a little 1985 movie called Re-Animator, which is the directorial debut of one Stuart Gordon, based on a short story by one Howard Phillips Lovecraft, who is from our native New England. I wouldn't say the pride of Rhode Island based on some of the things that he wrote in his life, but definitely a very famous horror author that was that lived in Rhode Island many, many moons ago. I feel like this is a movie I'm amazed that we haven't really talked about so far. I think we might have talked about it in passing, like in drafts and stuff like that. But
definitely. I drafted this in the
Yeah.
I thought,
Lovecraft movie, awesome cast, awesome gore effects. I feel like definitely one of the most, I don't know about underrated movies of the 80s, maybe, but I would say this is like,
It's the most 80s horror movie of the 80s.
this is like the horror fans horror movie of like the 80s. I feel like going to be up there, one of them. So Matt, this was your pick. I'm not surprised. Why don't you kick us off with your thoughts on Re-Animator? And I don't mean that in a disparaging way.
No, I know.
I like the movie a lot. So yeah.
I love this movie. This is one of my all-time favorite horror movies ever. I think it has, like you said, it's just like the horror fans. It's got fucking everything in it. There's zombies, there's gore, there's mad scientists, there's fucking damsels in distress, there's bad guys, there's boobs, not only boobs but great boobs. There's it's
great
so
boobs, the best boobs.
I did say earlier, I was like, these might be the best boobs in 80s horror. They
Might not be wrong either. So.
This movie is fucking crazy. And it just like, as it rolls on, it just keeps like upping the ante to the point that you're just like, how can we even go further than this? And it does. It really is such a fucking memorable and fun movie. It's also wicked fucking funny.
It's
hilarious.
It is.
really
I put
fun.
it up there with like American Werewolf in London in terms of not just being like campy funny, but genuinely like the jokes are funny. They hit. You have these characters that are all so different that play off of each other, and they're just so like Herbert West is a maniac.
Sure is.
And you have Dr. Hill, who's just a disgusting, awful fucking piece of shit.
Yeah.
And then you have Dan, the doctor, the young kid. He's like the main guy, and then his girlfriend Meg, or fiance, and that's Barbara Crampton, who's
The lovely
a fucking
Barbara
legend.
Crampton. Yep.
And it is such a great little slice of just 80s horror heaven, dude. This is I call this like this, and it's funny they came out in the same year. This, Return of the Living Dead, and Day of the Dead are like three, and they're all fucking kind of zombie movies, but they're the three movies I would say like capture the heart and soul of what was 80s horror from someone that was outside looking in. I didn't grow up in that era to be able to experience it as it happened, but to be someone that lived after it and to go back to it, watch all these fucking movies, I'm like, damn, like these three movies are just like the time capsule tapes you'd want to have to just be like, wow, this is fucking crazy. So
yeah. I mean, you just mentioned, three bangers that came out in 1985 with those three movies. And this, very much feels in line with those other movies, which is funny because this initially was, intended on being like a parody of Frankenstein. Stuart Gordon actually at the time was saying there's a ton of like Dracula movies out there, but nobody's really done like riffs on Frankenstein, which is what the intention for this movie was. Now, it didn't necessarily stick to the whole story there. There's definitely some elements of that in there. I think, trying to like, create life essentially is Herbert West's mission. He's essentially Victor Frankenstein in this movie. But yeah, this is just a balls to the wall, crazy fucking horror movie. And we sat down last night to watch it, and I made dinner, and it's funny. We were like sitting on the couch, eating dinner, right? And we were in the living room on the couch eating, and Bridget was still up with us, just crawling around on the floor while we were sitting there on the couch. And we put it on for about 2.5 minutes, and I was like, "Kat, it's probably not the best movie to watch while we're eating. So why don't we put a pin on this?" So
it doesn't get put on Jersey Shore real quick.
Oh, honestly, like I forgot that it was like a cold open before it led into the opening credits, and I was like, "Wait a second!" I was like, "We clicked on the right one, right? This isn't some weird off-brand like fucking thing." It was on Tubi, of course.
I said the same thing because I was like, "What's going on?" The movie immediately started. I was like, "What am I watching?"
Yeah, I forgot that it was like that fast of a cold open. And then immediately I saw Jeffrey Combs, and I was like, okay, yep, we're watching the right movie. Maybe we should pause this and not have food in front of us. Also, I think, by the way, the Jeffrey Combs performance in this movie, one of the most underrated performances by an actor in an 80s horror movie. I think he's fantastic as Herbert West.
And it's just like, he's like the diabolical version of like Sheldon from like The Big Bang Theory.
That's a great comparison.
It's like Sheldon's evil twin, dude.
Yeah, like evil genius, like no emotion, like crazed.
But don't get me wrong, I do not like that show. But Sarah watches it.
I know you told me that Sarah likes that show. I have no use for Young Sheldon, Big Bang Theory, any of that stuff.
I don't watch any of those channels unless the Patriots are on.
I just always see the commercials for Young Sheldon.
The
commercials are on all the
honestly,
time.
That show sucks.
More annoying.
That's because you watch the news.
Well, no.
Jersey Shore commercials.
More annoying than Jersey Shore is the same exact Young Sheldon commercial that we've seen 8,000 times while watching Jersey Shore, because we're watching it on demand, so we're forced into commercials, and it's that one same fucking commercial.
Same commercial for
And
Young Sheldon.
no offense to your wife, every time I see that commercial, I'm like, wow. I would rather blow my fucking brains out than watch 35 seconds of this show. I could not imagine.
I agree.
Sitting down.
Yeah, you know what, dude?
I mean, it's honestly, I feel like it's Bob Hart's Abishola is another one. Like I challenge you.
I've never even heard of it.
If you are out there and you're listening and you watch Bob Hart's Abishola, I'm not even busting your balls yet. But send us a message because I want to know the draw.
That show isn't even. That show can't be on anymore.
Do you sit? Oh, it's still on.
Is it?
Like, do you sit down every week and say, "I cannot wait to see what further adventures are going to befall Bob and Abishola in their journey together through this life, harming each other"? Like, I need to know. Do you not have access to better TV? Do you just have cable? Like, what is it? I need to know.
That has to be.
What is the draw to Bob Hart's Abishola?
There's probably 70-year-old people that don't stream anything. They just watch what they tell you to watch because they're from that generation.
It's the same people that watch like that Tim Allen show, like Last Man Standing or fucking whatever dumbass show. No, not Home Improvement. That was a great show. What are you talking about, Tim? All right. So anyway, we're way off track.
But I was also going to say one thing I do miss about watching TV, because you brought it up, because I never see commercials really.
Yeah.
I miss really bad commercials that you would see like once every couple of days, and it was like such a nice release of anger. I get irrationally angry at certain commercials, like Subaru commercials or something where I'm like, what the fuck is this bullshit?
Subaru commercials, I'm filled with uncontrollable rage when I see this. Like, I don't
see Alice commercials. This guy's playing tennis. Like, go bang your wife.
I don't know.
Wasting your time.
They're in a bathtub in the middle of the desert, fucking just hanging out, about to bone. Like, what are you doing? I don't know.
They're in different bathrooms.
I don't know what the fuck a Subaru summer is, but if you're celebrating a Subaru summer, I ever see you, I might murder you.
It's gonna be
honestly, if you're gonna do a car commercial, just do what Lincoln does and just get Matthew McConaughey to ramble on for 30 seconds.
Without saying absolutely God knows
like,
what this Matthew
what is
McConaughey.
this? Are you the Lincoln lawyer? What the fuck?
Honestly, like if aren't you gonna want to buy a car anyway? Like if you see a commercial for a car, you'd be like, you know what? That 30 seconds just swayed my opinion. I'm gonna buy that car.
Yeah, it's like Coca-Cola. Like you either want a Coke
or a Pepsi.
Like, you know what you want.
Yeah.
The fuck.
All right.
The fuck. Anyway,
Mike's about to have an aneurysm.
Yeah,
Sorry.
I was gonna say, I'm like,
You're gonna have to reanimate.
Now that Mike's floating,
reanimated.
get your
Yes, I am very much reanimated. So yeah. Anyway, so this isn't necessarily the best movie to watch while eating. This is, but the gore is off the walls. Crazy practical effects in this. I feel like some of the best again throughout the 80s.
Oh, top notch.
Yeah.
Notch.
If you like little kitty felines, maybe not the best movie for you. This
the cat gets it.
Rufus gets it pretty hard a few different
Couple
times.
times, yeah.
A couple different
I
times.
changed Seven's name to Rufus.
Yeah, right. Rufus.
What's up, Rufus?
Kat, I'm assuming this was your first viewing of
Yes.
Re-Animator, right? What did you think of this movie? Yes, pull out your notes. What do you think?
no,
You
I'm
just
not-
kept saying this movie's crazy.
Which I felt like was code for I fucking hate this movie.
Yeah, that's what I was getting that vibe. I'm like,
She doesn't like this movie.
Oh yeah, no, it's so gruesome. Like I won't read my notes right now, but maybe later. But I had no idea, like going into this, I was like, is this gonna be a monster movie? Like Re-Animator. I'm like, okay, I don't know. I just pictured like Godzilla for some reason. I don't know why. But I was like,
Godzilla?
yeah, that was like I had no idea.
What the hell?
But it was a fun little 80s horror movie. Like what Matt said, I was like, yeah, it definitely was not scary by any means.
No, it's ridiculous.
At some points it may be borderline annoying. I feel like I think I got a little bit annoyed when I was like, oh, but that's just so stupid. Like I was like,
it's supposed to be.
I know, but it's supposed to be like that. So I'm just like, I was like, oh, that's gonna happen. Like this is like what blah blah blah. And like it. Anyways,
I feel like it was almost kind of like Abbott and Costello
It's like
meet the
slapstick.
Re-Animator slapstick
Yeah.
type shit.
I liked the like neon green like slime juice.
Yeah.
That was cool. Like
the
it was-
Re-Animate. Yeah, that's what they. Yeah.
Yeah.
good stuff.
No, I get it. But yeah, I liked it though. I liked it. It was
Good.
a nice.
I'm glad you
little,
did like it because I was like, if anyone's not gonna like it, it's gonna be Kat.
No.
You know, Kat always likes a movie if she used the two descriptors fun and little.
Fun and little.
I love this.
Yep.
Every movie Kat likes fun and
A
little.
Reagent, by the way, not Re-Animator, Reagent.
Oh, that would have been too weird.
While you're talking about that, so the neon green Reagent, you have any idea what they might have used for that effect?
Glow stick juice.
Yeah, exactly.
That makes
Oh,
perfect
glow
sense.
stick juice.
Because that's what it
That's
is.
not that
Glow
hard.
stick a glow stick liquid.
But yeah,
Glow
I'd
stick
say
Glow stick lube.
Somebody just said
Glow
that.
stick lube.
Glow
That's
stick
what it
lube.
is. I mean,
Fraggle stick
really.
car.
Fraggle stick car.
Fraggle stick car.
Yeah.
The fuck is Fraggle
Dude,
stick?
imagine if you're
Fuck.
seeing.
People listen, what the fuck
Don't
are
get me
these
going
people
on
talking
Bad
about?
Santa.
Oh, God.
Oh my god, yeah. I know.
That's
All right,
a year.
Kat, continue.
So,
I'm sorry.
um,
Yes.
I forgot what I was talking about. But yeah, no, I thought it was a good movie. I thought it was funny. Definitely don't eat while you watch it.
No.
I had
Um,
McDonald's while I was watching this movie.
no,
And a McFlurry.
I had baked ziti before I watched it.
Yeah.
Right. Well, we ate before because I was like, like even the opening scene with her like just blood coming. I'm like, okay, all right.
I'm like immune to that.
I'm
That
not-
doesn't do it.
Well, it
I
opens
can
with them
eat during,
giving like
wow.
this like gigantic naked lady like
Yeah.
trying to give her like chest compression.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
that's right.
and I
She's
was like,
dead.
Yeah.
Just give up.
that was literally the first 2 minutes.
Let
and I
it
was
go,
like,
buddy.
Let it go. That redhead
pass.
sucks.
Like pass. So yeah, don't eat.
Yeah, fair.
Eating when you're watching a horror movie is already kind of
Yeah,
a
it's
roll
all,
of the
you're
dice,
already
dude.
playing with fire there.
It depends on what you're eating,
That's just a fucking.
or if you're intentionally eating,
I guess.
like Shano or.
Well, I
you know.
guess it does. Like
Did
if
you
you're
watch
eating,
movies and like gag.
no, like I think
No,
spaghetti
but
and
we-
meatballs is a weird thing to eat for a gory movie. If
I think
you're
that's a
watching
weird thing to eat as an adult anyway.
spaghetti and
Spaghetti and
meatballs.
meatballs? Ooh, hot
Don't get me
take.
wrong.
Wow.
Don't get me wrong. Spaghetti and meatballs are great. I guess if you're making like I'm not just gonna make myself a plate of spaghetti and meatballs, but if you're making it for the family.
Yeah, we got a bunch of meatballs and
Yeah,
stuff.
that's
So
it.
let's
I'm
make
just
some
like I'm
spaghetti.
gonna make two
You ever heard
meatballs
of Chef Boyardee?
and some trash.
But like if you're watching like the Human Centipede, like you're not gonna eat
Yeah,
like
well,
a
that's-
fudgicle or like chocolate pudding.
Well, we used to do Walking Dead meat dinners on Sundays.
Yes.
So I'd make,
we've
like-
covered this before, yeah.
Right, with
Salmon
Chano, who
sashimi.
cuts our audio.
Yeah.
So I do like
That's correct.
a rack of lamb or like turkey
watch zombie
legs or like,
movies?
oh yeah,
Something on a bone
And we
that you
watched
could gnaw on.
something
while
you could
watching
gnaw on
zombies
while you
eat
were
people.
watching.
Yeah. I wouldn't say I would ever gag while eating during a
No.
graphic horror movie. It's off-putting. I'm like,
It's kind
I
of.
don't want to.
I think it
you
comes
know-
down to like what you're eating, what you're watching.
Yeah,
Like
Yeah, what if you were
hot
eating
sauce,
a
I don't
dick?
think
Would
you
you
can eat really dick.
I don't know. You'd have to answer that one, Andrew. I don't know.
Sorry. Snorted again. That's like
I mean,
two snorts in this.
Wow.
You're pulling a
Look at
Costanza.
you.
You're pulling a Costanza. You are a Costanza. Popcorn. This would be a good popcorn movie. I think this is a fun popcorn movie.
Yeah.
Popcorn and cherry icy type thing.
But I think if I was watching like Hostel, I don't think I could even eat popcorn. I don't think I'm gonna eat anything watching that movie. It's just
All right.
gross.
Yeah, Hostel's gross, but
You can still eat some popcorn watching a movie.
true.
Debatable.
Andrew,
Grow up.
Debatable.
I know you were a big fan of this movie as well. Talk to us about Re-Animator.
So Ron,
What?
thought I had seen this movie.
Oh.
Never seen this movie in my entire fucking life.
Oh,
Whoa.
I was thinking, he was talking about it, and I was thinking of From Beyond, the other fucking.
The other
weird-
Stuart Gordon H.P.
Yeah,
Lovecraft movie.
H.P. Lovecraft.
Same two actors.
Yeah.
And it started, and it was like, got like 20 minutes in. I'm like, I like fall asleep during
Sure
the
about
beginning of this
that?
movie at some point. And then I started watching. I'm like, I've never seen this fucking movie. And I feel like what got me was like, usually like you said, like the cold open, like it's just like, I mean, it's a cold open. So
Yeah.
but you're not used to seeing that. I feel like
Not in the 80s.
not in the 80s. Like
No.
that's very weird. Like I'm like, did I start watching? I had to keep pausing. I'm like, nope, 0 minutes and 3 seconds. It's like, did I?
3
No.
seconds in, you were like,
Yeah, I was like, did I start watching this movie at some point and not finish it? Is that where I'm like in the middle of the movie?
yeah.
And then I brought up the,
From Beyond does start off very like procedural. There's a lot of doctor
Yeah.
hospital.
that's why immediately I was like, I don't know if I've seen this movie. And I didn't. I hadn't seen this. But like, so I brought it up last night because I immediately when I heard the opening music, I was like, is this like the music from Psycho just jazzed up? And you were like, yes. And I was like, okay, I'm not crazy.
Nope.
And then you said it got kind of like, people were like, this is bullshit. Like they called it like a ripoff.
Yeah, so the composer did that as like an homage to Psycho,
Mhm.
and everyone was like, "No, you ripped it off, you fucking loser."
Yeah, the guy that did the music, his name was Bernard Herrmann, and Leonard Maltin, who was a pretty famous movie critic back in the day, might still be kicking around. If not, he's pretty old.
yeah.
Maybe he's not. I have no idea.
Sounds like he's been dead for 20 years.
Yeah,
Basically,
that's a dead guy name.
Leonard Maltin.
he was in Bravo's 100 Scariest Movie Moments for
I know.
a few seconds.
He's got
Yeah.
he's
been
the
on-
dude with like the crazy,
Yes.
fucking looks like a
Yep.
lion, the cowardly lion.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think you're thinking of a different guy.
Oh, is it?
Yes, that's the he's British. The guy you're thinking of.
Yeah.
I think this guy is American for sure.
Oh,
If you Google his name, you'd know who he was. But I guess he gave the film 3 out of 5 stars, which is pretty good for an 80s critic. But he docked it a full star because of his distaste for the
Oh, okay, that guy.
his distaste for the ripoff
alive.
of Psycho's music. As
That
Andrew
was-
sits here and pulls a Herbert West and is breaking pencils because apparently he thinks what I'm saying is bullshit or something. Correct?
Leonard Maltin
Pointless
is only
drivel.
What
72.
pencils did you bring
I
with you?
think you should get a
72.
pen, Mr. West.
Leonard Maltin's only 72.
Very much alive.
Oh,
Wow.
so-
Okay, good for him.
But now that I saw him, I'm like, oh,
What do I
okay.
do with
But you know who I'm talking
I know
about.
exactly who you're talking about. All right, Andrew. So first time you had seen this movie, what did you
Did you
think once
bring
you
those?
realized?
Yeah,
of
exactly.
course you
That's
did.
what-
Oh, that was your prop?
Yes.
Okay.
Good
Oh my
stuff.
God, I think I gave you these pencils. These are drawing
So
pencils.
let's just say if I'm bringing props to a movie
Of course you
review,
break those.
like no,
You're
those
chopping
are
both
mine.
sides.
Yeah,
Now
those
you
are from
got
my
4.
house.
Now you have 4.
Are those
pencils.
from the drawing kit that we bought for you?
Yeah.
Yes,
Just
they are.
one pencil.
Just sharpen both sides.
That was like
and
3
now you
years
have
ago. How
like
long-
6
Those pencils would
pencils.
have been gone. anyway.
All right. What were your thoughts on
I had to find a
Re-Animator?
pencil.
Drawing
So I'm
pencils.
saying, my point being, if I'm bringing props to a movie review,
Thumbs up.
that movie fucking smacked.
Yeah.
I would say that this movie is now potentially, it's easily,
I can't believe you just did that.
this could be my favorite 80s movie of all time, 80s horror movie.
Wow.
And this might
I'll tell
have
you.
surpassed Phantasm in my opinion.
What?
Dude, I've never been more enthralled with a movie than watching this movie.
This is a
Wow.
huge moment in America's
This is a
hometown
big
horror
development
history.
right
Yes.
there.
Yes.
Huge
Breaking
amount.
news.
Literally everything you could ask for in a movie. Like you, Mike, so eloquently, Matt, I'm having trouble speaking because I had
Yes.
so eloquently brought up.
No problem
jet lag.
snorting though.
Yeah, I mean, that was like 5 days ago.
Now it sounds
4
like
days
he's
ago.
been doing cocaine.
How much coke can you do in Boise?
All the coke. That's why there was. That's why I went to that penitentiary. Yeah, it's hard to put into words. It just Dr. Hill is one of the greatest villains in a horror movie. that I've
Herbert
ever
West
seen.
is also a villain.
Herbert West is a villain. Like he's like an anti-hero, anti-villain, anti-hero.
He's
Because
a sexy
because it's weird. Like you're supposed to throughout the movie, like you grow to like his character, even though he's the weirdest, most out of place character from the beginning of the movie. Whereas the Dean and the Dr. Hill are supposed to be—they're just annoying and fucking terrible people. You can just tell.
Well, the Dean gets turned into a fucking Neanderthal.
Yeah, which is fantastic. He gets exactly what he deserves. But like, I feel like you're immediately Herbert West is your. I feel like you're rooting for him the entire movie, which is
him. And you want Dan to be the guy.
Yeah.
Too.
Kane, Dr. Kane.
Dr. Kane.
Yep. Obviously, yeah. I mean, I feel like it's a team up movie essentially between West, Kane, and Megan.
It's a buddy comedy.
Yeah, it pretty much is. A couple very wacky, gory,
really
best
like,
practical effects ever. Like
practical effects are there.
Dude, like
it's not the goriest movie of the 80s or the year, but it is
so
the gore
well
is
done.
good.
And like even like you can tell when they're using like the most like when Dr. Hill's holding his own head like directly in his stomach, you're like, oh yeah, so the guy's clearly just like sticking it. Like
But
it's so obvious,
works.
but it works so well. And then when his head's in the plate and he like puts like the blood into it to keep it alive, and he's just licking his lips, staring at Megan's naked body while he rubs her breast with his hands, where his like head's over here, hands over here, and I'm like, this is fucking creepy. And that goes on for like a solid.
Oh yeah,
it's incredibly uncomfortable.
I think she publicly spoke out about being like, that wasn't.
Oh, that's not
so
surprising.
I saw the opposite actually, so I can read you a direct quote from Barbara Crampton.
She's like, they were hard as balls.
I'll find it. But it was essentially the gist of it. Oh, here it is. So she talked about doing nude scenes in this and other films during a 2014 interview, and she said, quote, anything I did was always part of the film and part of the story. I don't think that anything I ever did felt like, quote, I shouldn't be doing this, or I'm scared to do it, or that it would hurt my career if I did it. There are a lot of people who are movie viewers and have varying degrees in what they think and how they feel about sexuality and nudity. There's a lot of social and moral issues involved in people's minds and their upbringing. But for me, as an actor, if it's part of the story, I'll do it, and I'll probably continue to do it. I don't know if anyone's going to see a wrinkled old grandmother, Barbara Crampton, but if it's part of the story, I will do it. And then she laughed. So it certainly seems like, I know there are probably a lot of people that are either triggered, I hate that word, but triggered by or object to that particular scene. Because it's
an abhorrent sexual assault.
Disgusting.
It's
absolutely so out of control. Like that's when you're like, this guy's the ultimate villain.
Oh yeah.
Like,
but that makes me feel better on her part, knowing that she was like, no, I'm just doing what I signed up to do and what I accepted to do.
What she was being paid to do as an actor.
That's cool. Yeah. So I would have felt bad if like I thought I saw something of her being like, it kind of was not great.
I mean, maybe something has come out since 2014 that I haven't seen. This I'm pulling this directly from IMDb, and that's a quote that I
think she talks about it in one of those In Search of Darkness things of being like, it's like what you do, but it's like you gotta kind of like as doing your job, you're like, this isn't like favorable, but it is what it is. But
because could the movie
I don't have any
been just as good without that part? The movie would have been just fine if you just didn't have that in there. But that's 80s horror.
That was it. Yeah, it's boobs and
dude. I love the scene too when West fucking chops off Dr. Hill's head. That scene's so great.
Oh, with the shovel.
Yeah,
that was great too. Now I will say you probably couldn't get away with doing that scene in a movie nowadays. The Barbara Crampton.
No chance. What is?
Oh God, no.
R-rated, right?
Oh God.
It might be
because I'm pretty. I thought, this is X-rated.
Actually. Yeah, let me see.
I was just curious because for some reason I watched another movie last night in relation to this movie and it said PG-13. And I was like, that
The Bride of?
Yeah, but that can't be right. I don't know. I think my TV with my Amazon Prime was off.
TV was shitting.
I feel like there's no way you could. I feel like
this
you
is
can't
either.
I
own this on Blu-ray from the Arrow video release, and it's not rated.
That makes sense.
That makes sense because this movie is.
It just doesn't have a rating.
It shouldn't have a rating.
It also has some really, really cool. I watched one of the behind the dude. The thing about Arrow that rocks is that they're all these boutique releases like Arrow, Scream Factory, and Vinegar Syndrome, and all the. There's so many, but either way, they all have incredible like special features, full length documentaries, stuff like that. So I watched this the other night. I had like an hour and a half before I was like, all right, like it was probably like 8:45. I was like, all right, let me watch the behind the scenes thing and get into it just because I was like, fuck it, like whatever. And it went into a lot of like the stuff about making the movie, writing it, the thing about the guy getting roasted for stealing the Psycho theme song, this, that, and the other thing.
Yep.
And I need to start watching all these fucking bonus features that I am.
It's good stuff.
I own to watch. So
what are you doing, bro?
Yeah. So it is cool.
Do you even bonus feature,
Brah? It says here the film was originally released without a rating. So it was unrated and then later edited to obtain an R rating.
So it's the one that I watched on
I believe we probably
Amazon.
saw
The one I watched mine on Amazon for free.
We watched ours on Tubi.
I think it's
It's on
Screenbox.
Tubi. It's on everything.
Yeah. So I don't know if it was, but like if this is like the edited down version.
I don't think anything is.
It didn't.
edited.
How
I mean,
long
there's
is
no
it?
way this is the edited down.
If it says
version.
TV mature,
it just means,
that's basically an unrated.
that makes sense.
Yeah.
It's another thing great about this movie. What, hour 35? So
It
clock
hour
Yeah.
and like
real.
85 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the perfect length for a movie.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah, the fucking no fat on it. Like I said,
None.
cold open, kicks you right in the dick to start off, and then just keeps on flying. Does a little bit of character development, and then just keeps going bananas until the very, very end. Which I will say, the ending, nice little cut to black. I feel like that's something else.
Great
I like
scream.
yeah.
Yeah.
But you just
Perfect.
see the little green.
Yeah, that was
a
cool.
great
That was a
edit.
cool little
Yeah.
effect.
That was
I
cool.
like
That was
that.
cool.
Very cool, man.
Here, hold this glow stick over there. Get
Yeah.
over
Yeah.
I really love this movie.
Oh, now I want to make those for Halloween.
We could be Re-Animators.
No, I want to make like I want to put like glow sticks in jars and like shake
Dude,
them up
I
and
don't
put
think I
wrappers
want
and
to
stuff.
drink whatever you would have to make it that
No,
color.
no, I
Just
would
be
go-
careful because when you
I
cut those
know.
things open, they
They
like go
explode,
everywhere.
I know.
Oh,
Yeah.
put
I've gotten that stuff in my eyes before.
In your eyes?
Sucks. Yeah.
Do you remember when you used to go to dances and you stick them in your mouth?
Oh yeah, all the time.
What were you sticking in your
Yeah.
mouth, Michael?
Glow
sticks.
sticks.
Dinkies.
I thought you said glow dicks.
Dude, people
Glow
no,
sticks.
people used
Oh yeah.
yeah, sandstorm would be on. People would be like chewing on. it.
Literally, yeah.
Yeah, I remember that.
That was like weekends in high school.
Yeah.
You'd go to a dance with glow
Um,
sticks in your mouth.
Raven.
So we talked about, or Andrew, you talked
Quote the
about how
Yeah.
You guys remember that?
More.
Dr. Hill is kind of the epitome of like an 80s horror villain.
He reminds me of Dr. Shenard from Hellraiser 2. Like, just as good.
Yeah.
He's fantastic.
He also reminds me of the brothers from Dead Ringer.
Yeah.
So obviously, Dr. Hill, played by David Gale, who died a few years after this movie came out. Do you know who was initially in talks for the role and turned it down?
I'm gonna guess, and I think it's.
How many years
Christopher
after this movie did he come out? Did he die?
I think he died in like 92.
Oh, because I was saying
95.
Re-Animator, Brad Re-Animator was 91. So I was like, did they re-animate him for the sequel? How sick would
Was
that
it
have been?
Christopher Walken?
What's your guess? Do you have a guess?
What was the say it again? Because I was too busy.
The guy who played Dr. Hill, the role, it was written for somebody, and he turned down the role.
Christopher Lloyd. No.
Christopher Lloyd. It was excuse me, Christopher Lee.
Damn,
Oh,
we
that's-
all were
right
so
there,
close.
Except mine wasn't even in the same like
Yeah.
ballpark.
All
His
Christopher's.
first name though.
Christopher Lloyd, Christopher Walken.
That's kind of hilarious.
Christopher Walken would have been a bananas choice.
Oh!
Whoa.
Oh,
There's some reanimating going on.
Don't lie, your
around
boobs.
me. Your boobs, they're out here.
They're out.
Oh my god.
Christopher Lee would have been fantastic.
Hold my head.
Hold
I'm gonna munch.
My god.
He just puts him on the paper holder.
Ouch.
That was, I
Ouch.
think, one of the funniest parts of the whole movie is after West
And it
cuts
falls
Hill's
over.
head off. It keeps falling over like 3 times, and then he takes like that, whatever it is,
Yeah.
just right on there. Awesome.
They talk about that in
I
the 100 Scariest Movie Moments.
Yeah.
The Bravo one, and that is a really good scene.
So goddamn good. Yeah, Christopher Lee as Dr. Hill would have been a pretty good get.
I mean,
This
guy killed it.
He
though,
did.
too.
He was
After
very,
seeing
very
him
good.
as Lord Summerisle and Wicker Man, he can be a diabolical piece of shit.
Oh yeah.
or Lord Saruman.
To be but to be that like perverted on top of it, I don't think that's in his.
Yeah, they chose. I think they chose the right guy because this guy's perfect.
Yeah.
Like he's very believable throughout this movie as the worst human being that's ever lived, who has possibly one of the biggest faces I've ever seen.
Yeah, big face.
Yeah, he's got a face like Mount Rushmore.
Dude, when his heads get just squished in, it's so good.
Yeah, that's awesome. It's a good part.
Yeah, there is a couple good
That wild
head
scene.
crushing scenes. Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of head trauma.
Oh, another thing I wanted to bring up. So
Must have been a big influence on Ari Aster.
Yeah.
you got the guy that's always watching the morgue down there.
The security guard?
Yeah, the black security guard. And anytime Dan comes, he's like, oh, you just go on break.
Go
on
take a
break.
shit.
He's like, I'm gonna go take a shit. I'm gonna go have a coffee.
Yeah.
And then there's one where Dr. Hill walks in, but it's like Dr. Hill without his head. And the guy's got like the weird head on.
Doing the Charlie
And
Brown thing.
he's definitely sitting there like watching like reading like a porn magazine.
Oh, for sure.
And he goes,
what was it called?
He goes, I gotta go take a break. And he basically like winks at the camera. Like, I'm like, you gonna go jerk off right now? Is this the fucking joke? Like, what is going on? Like, watch that scene. Or it's a very quick scene in the movie at that part. And immediately I was like, he's going to beat off in the bathroom. And he just told everybody.
Just going to have
and like he did it in a way like it's very funny. Like he's just like reading a porno mag and he's like, oh, he's here. He's like, I'm going on my break.
Going to give
I'm getting a coffee, not I'm taking a shit. I'm going on my break.
Giving the little head the old yerk and a yingle while at work.
There's a
joke in the chicken.
Jesus.
I don't think I've ever jerked off
Flogging the dolphin. You never flogged the dolphin before a first date?
Oh God. So we talked a little bit about let's see, Lovecraft. Obviously, Lovecraft. There's definitely a few elements of Lovecraft in the story. It's very loosely based on the original story that he wrote.
Yeah,
which
that
came out
was
like
one of the things they talked about in that behind the scenes thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
So Lovecraft wrote these stories. They were serialized and published in like weird fiction magazines, like the 1890s. They went from like 1890. I don't have the exact dates, but the original story was called Herbert West Re-Animator. But there are still some influences from Lovecraft in there. Obviously, the character names, the reagent, all that stuff, basically bring people back to life. And potentially the biggest thing that's used in a ton of Lovecraft stories is the setting of Arkham, Massachusetts, which is a fictional town that he came up with and used in a lot of his stories. And also you get the appearance of Miskatonic University. This is actually specifically Miskatonic Medical School, which is a fictional college that Lovecraft came up with and used in several of his stories. So Lovecraft almost had the kind of Stephen King thing going on, where a lot of his stories used familiar settings throughout New England, familiar characters, and familiar places. Arkham, Massachusetts also, by the way, was the inspiration for Arkham Asylum in Batman.
I was going to say that sounds.
I was wondering if that's what that's
where it comes
from. Okay,
yep, that's where it comes from, which is pretty cool. By the way, the Miskatonic Medical School, the set that they used is the same set that they used for Cyberdyne headquarters in Terminator 2 Judgment Day, which I feel like when I read that, I was like, I can see that. Okay, a little bit. Terminator 2 is a good movie. Not as good as the original one, but it's good.
Both of them I like. Yeah.
You know who else really, really loves this movie? In fact, called it his favorite film. That would be Favourite. So he's a British person.
Clive Barker.
Not a bad guess. Do you have anyone else have a guess?
A British
gentleman.
Gentleman, like what's his?
Passed away a few years back. He's a musician, also an actor. That would be one David Bowie. David Bowie worked with cinematographer Mac Allberg on the second greatest story ever told, parts 1 and 2. I guess who was the cinematographer for Re-Animator. During filming of those movies, Bowie found out that Allberg had shot Re-Animator, apparently ran up to him, asked if it was true, and Bowie said, quote, "That is my favorite film." So David Bowie, big fan of Re-Animator. Just like all of us, apparently.
Good for you, Bowie.
To varying degrees. Let's see. What else on Re-Animator? Any random thoughts before we break down some other 1985 horror?
Should I bring up the fact that I watched Re-Animator? Talk about Bride of Re-Animator.
We never do sequels.
No, we really don't.
I feel like
that's a lot of homework, but I feel like we generally decide our topics like 2 days before we're going to record.
Yeah, we could just always throw a sequel in the mix.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Andrew talked about it. I've never seen.
More point to what I was just saying. That,
seen it.
Very rarely do I watch a movie, finish it, and immediately go, I'm watching the next one.
Yeah.
Like this was and this movie it was like a close second. It was extremely good. Like the opening scene with Dr. Hill's head in a just
like the
darkness.
Boris Karloff style.
And there's like the bat wings, and he's like, I think there's the bat. No, there isn't the bat wing. Are there the bat wings in that part? Yeah. He's his head is flying with bat wings, and he's just like, West, you bastard. He just yells, and
he just calls him almost diabolical, old school bad names.
I'm like, this is easily one of my favorite openings to a movie. It's up there with like
it reminds me of the player haters ball skit from the Chappelle show where he just like goes off like roasting Herbert West for a second. It's
Dude,
like, you son of a bitch.
The
Oh my
way
God.
the way he moves his mouth is so good. Like the way he
It's like
talks,
slack
it's
jawed.
so
Yeah.
weird, and it adds like a different element of just creepiness. You've seen this movie, obviously, right? You haven't.
No.
Mike hasn't.
But it sounds good.
No, it is.
Just picks
It's-
up
it's
right
good,
where it
yeah.
left off.
Dude, it's just wild. I don't want to get too much into it, but like a couple favorite scenes is after the dog gets killed by the lieutenant, and he puts like the lieutenant's arm on the dog's leg that he cut off. He like replaces it, and he brings it back to life. And the dog's owner comes downstairs, and it's just like, oh, hey. And he puts on his arm and just starts grabbing her arm. And she's like, ah, like, what the fuck is this? That scene's so good. I love that scene.
Underrated 90s fucking gem, dude.
To the end of this movie is probably more wild.
Oh, yeah.
Than the end of Re-Animator.
I definitely want to see
It's
this.
out of control.
It's on TV.
And
Yeah, I say it popped up right after we finished it. Yeah.
Oh.
And then there's another one later from like 2000 and 2002.
That
whatever,
looked like
but that's not
absolute
as good.
trash.
Yeah.
Because it's also playing, it's got to be playing a different storyline. Because the like
it's not good.
I saw. So it takes it takes
14
like
years
2003,
after
but
the-
apparently
and
West
they went to
was
jail,
he was
yeah.
in jail and then he comes out.
So
yeah.
this one much better. This one came out in 91.
Yeah.
This
Absolutely.
1985 list is about to be full of fucking
There's some
bangers.
bangers.
really-
This might be the best year
really
of
good
80s
ones.
horror.
So again, in alphabetical order, that's how we do here, not in order of favoritism. Any of you guys ever seen a movie called The Black Cauldron?
No.
Like
This
the Disney
cartoon?
movie?
This has, the reputation as being the darkest, most fucked up Disney animated movie.
Yeah.
Disney put out a couple of fucked up movies
I
this
used to
year.
watch this movie when I was a little kid all the time.
So
Wait a minute.
it's animated, and this was really it actually was. Disney caught a lot of backlash because it's a very, very dark fantasy story that they did, and there's one particular character in it, I believe, the Horned King, and super fucking scary for a kids movie. But Disney not only came out with The Black Cauldron in 1985, I'll skip out of alphabetical order here to mention they also came out with Return to Oz in 1985. So
They were
definitely
just setting out like
a dark fucking
up
year for
bangers.
Disney. So yeah, Kat, look, when you see The Black Cauldron and the Horned
I'm
King,
gonna-
You've
yeah, let me
definitely
know.
seen
Yeah,
that.
I'm gonna add that to my watch list. Just to-
absolutely, I'd watch it with
I
you.
must have.
I got to rewatch it. because I
here
haven't
is
seen
a-
it.
I haven't seen it in
Here is a
25 years.
I
banger.
have PTSD from that movie, and I'm like, I start watching it again and just go into shell shock.
Yeah.
Cat's Eye. Yep. Awesome movie.
Stephen
Is that the Stephen King
Yep,
one? Yeah.
trio of stories directed by a guy, Louis Teague, who directed Alligator and a bunch of other stuff. And it's based on 3 Stephen King stories, 2 which were short stories, 1 he wrote for the movie. Really cool movie. Got a young Drew Barrymore in it. James Woods is in it.
Can't go wrong with James Woods.
There's a movie, let's see, Chiller, which is a Wes Craven movie with Paul Sorvino. I guess that was direct to TV. Anyone seen it?
No.
Negative.
Matt, Day of the Dead. You brought it up earlier. I don't think it's as good as Dawn of the Dead, but
Dawn of the
you
Dead
could
is the
make the
best,
argument.
yeah.
I mean, it's still a great fucking movie. I mean, unbelievable effects.
fantastic.
Unbelievable
The
effects.
first 3 Dead films are 10 out of 10 unmatched superstar films.
Yeah.
Those movie rock. Like they are perfect.
I feel like Day of the Dead gets slept on a little bit because Night of the Dead and Dawn of the Dead are so iconic.
Oh, dude, no, Day of the Dead's fucking.
Well,
bad.
and for hardcore horror fans, yes, I think
the gore is insane.
It is the part where what's the guy's name that gets essentially pulled in half. That's one of the most incredible practical effects scenes you'll ever fucking see. But I feel like to casual horror fans, they're going to be much more familiar with Night of and Dawn of than they are Day of, I think.
I don't know. Dawn of the Dead's not easy to find to watch.
Well, also you had the remake of Dawn of the Dead too, so I feel like
That
more
one,
people
but
know the name of like. I'm not saying it's the same movie, obviously, but
The
more
original
people
has
know.
0 available prints on physical media in America.
I didn't know that.
It's not streaming anywhere. You can't rent it.
That's insane.
Mm-hmm. It's owned by Italian and European rights.
That's fucking
It
crazy.
gets caught up in some fucking.
You are the king of
loophole.
physical media, my friend. I would have never.
I own I own a big box set.
Was this the one where you bought the European DVD player? So you
Yeah,
could
so I
play it?
had to get a fucking
Yeah,
special
that's right.
thing.
What?
Yep.
Dedication.
so
You told that story a
this
while
is-
back.
I
Yeah.
learned how physical media works these days with Blu-rays. There's different regions, and so I got this. My mom got it for me for my birthday. The box set of the Dawn of the Dead. It's got 3 cuts: the original theatrical cut, the American director's cut, and then the Argento cut.
Okay.
Which Argento was a producer on the movie, and he had his own cut of it that showed in Italy. And so it was a Region B movie. I didn't know what that meant. I couldn't play it on anything on my 4K player on my PlayStation, so I had to buy a special Blu-ray player that interchanges the regions, so I can watch it on that. So now I own that, and I have my 4K player. So I have these two things, and now I can watch everything in the world. So it was worth it because I own probably almost 24 Blu-rays that are from Europe.
So is it just the way that they make?
No, it's just it's licensing. It's what's licensed to be sold in certain countries. They can sell them here, but it's just like the Blu-ray players that are sold at Best Buy and Walmart just don't have the same licensing capacity to show those. It's fucking stupid.
Interesting. I never knew that. I never knew that was a thing.
It is a thing, and I learned it the hard way. But now I am able to watch everything I want.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
beautiful.
Nice.
So that's Day of the Dead. We also got the 5th installment in the Friday the 13th franchise called Friday the 13th: A New Beginning.
That's a good one.
Yep.
Like a new or
that's one of like
new.
Okay.
It's that's the cultiest one of them all. Like that's the one that people have like a crazy following for, which doesn't make sense because Jason's not even in it.
Yeah, I feel like I remember that being the case, and I'm not as well versed in the Friday the 13th sequels as you are, Matt. So that's why I looked at you for that one.
Yeah, no, it's not my favorite, but it does that's outside of like 2 and 4. That's like the next biggest sequel that people really, really like.
Okay. One of my favorite movies from this year. We also got Fright Night. We talked about that last week when we were talking about Child's Play, because that's Child's Play is another Tom Holland directed movie with Chris Sarandon. Fright Night's awesome. Actually has a very under the radar remake with Colin Farrell and Anton Yelchin, which I believe we said the exact same thing last week. We're talking about this movie. Probably a ripoff of Gremlins, but still pretty goddamn good.
Critters.
Ghoulies came out in 1985. Anyone seen Ghoulies?
Yeah, the toilet monsters.
Ghoulies, toilet monsters.
The toilet monsters? Are they actually toilet monsters?
They're like gremlin ripoffs, but they, the poster is one of them popping out of a toilet and just being like,
Now you're Wilford the shit. There's a difference.
Wilford the shit. Catherine, 1985, we got The Hills Have Eyes, Part 2.
In 1985?
Correct.
Oh, wait, not the remake.
No,
part 2.
no, Part 2. The Hills Have Eyes, Part 2.
There's a Part 2 remake though too, but the original part.
Oh, I didn't know there was a Part 2 remake.
It's awful.
I'm sure it's probably not great. The first one was good though. One of the best horror remakes. Possibly the worst titled movie of this year, Howling 2. Your Sister is a Werewolf.
Also, not a good movie.
No, as much as I am a huge fan of The Howling, I am not a fan of Howling 2. Your Sister is a Werewolf.
3 and 4 actually are not terrible. There's like 7 of them.
I think I bailed out for 2.
The second one's bad.
Okay. Yeah. All right. We got Tobe Hooper's Life Force in 1985.
I'm not a fan.
Anyone else seen it?
That's the one when they're in outer space and like the weird lady.
Yes.
That's not very entertaining at all.
Yeah.
It's not terrible.
Not Tobe Hooper's best, but that's okay. We also got A Nightmare on Elm Street 2, Freddy's Revenge.
Banger.
That's a really,
underrated.
Really good one. Yeah. Very, very good.
Scariest Freddy movie.
Yeah.
He's like the most actual demon scary that he is in any of them.
You're probably right. I feel like out of all of the major horror slasher franchises, I'm the most well versed in the Nightmare on Elm Street movies because I really like a few of them. I really like 2. I really like Dream Warriors and really like New Nightmare a lot. Yep. So
he's got to be the scariest of those type of villains, though. I feel like those
kind of.
I feel like he's the most terrifying.
He
Michael
falls off a little bit, because
later ones. Yeah.
To me, because Jason's just a fucking juggernaut of a fucking person. So.
Freddy might be the best.
Leatherface could be pretty scary.
Yeah, but those movies, all those sequels are fucking trash.
True.
Freddy, after a while, was just wisecracks, though, too.
Yeah.
So that I feel like kind of takes away from the effect.
It's just like him farting in a microphone.
Let's see. What else? Where were we here?
Don't do that on the podcast.
I feel like we got, let's see. Phenomena, which is a Dario Argento movie starring Jennifer Connelly.
Yep.
I feel like we talked about this movie before because we said to somebody, settle down. She was like 15, I think, in this movie. Jennifer Connelly.
I was thinking about Labyrinth. I didn't know.
Yeah. She was
same
like a young girl that has like a telepathic connection with bugs, and she uses it to solve. It's a giallo, and she's trying to find a murderer, and it's a whodunit.
And she uses the bugs to get to them. When bugs are in the dirt. They know where them dead bodies be.
We also got in 1985 another one that Matt already mentioned, which is obviously a classic, The Return of the Living Dead.
Yeah, this movie's great. I love this movie.
Yep.
July 3rd every year.
Probably a podcast for another day, I would say.
Sure. Yeah,
That's
that'd be a
one
fun
that
one.
We gotta do a
absolutely
Dead
should
Day.
cover.
I do want to do the
Like 3 of them.
original 3.
Yeah.
I'd love to.
George
We haven't
Romero.
covered any of those.
I know,
That's wild.
but
I mean-
it would be like a series.
Yeah.
Like a.
Cool with that. Already mentioned Return to Oz. We did a whole episode
Pod of the
on
Dead.
that,
Yeah.
which I was kind of here for that one. Here's a movie that I really love and I talked
Yeah.
about on several things. Mainly, I think this is ripe for a reboot. They could make this into a really, really good 12-episode Netflix show. And that is
12.
Stephen,
What about 6?
one for each month, or 6.
That was way too many. 6 is perfect.
Stephen
8's
King's
perfect.
Silver Bullet.
Yeah. Cycle of the Werewolf.
Corey Haim
think
and
they just did like a-
Gary Busey.
A remake of the
G
movie.
Buse.
I love.
Dude, I just saw
Silver
this
Bullet.
video the other day, which I'm glad was like an AI fucking deep fake, but it's like Gary Busey just like on like a podcast, just like looking like just the Grim Reaper. And
Oh, I think I
Hot
saw
buttered
this too.
sausage.
yeah, dude. I
Talking
was
about
like,
hot buttered
dude,
sausage.
and I said it to my buddy. I'm
Oh
like,
my
no
God, what's
way.
wrong
And
with
he
you?
was like, dude, that's deep fake. I was like, it's got right. It's got to be right.
We're talking about hot buttered sausage.
But he just looks fucking insane, dude.
What is he talking
Yeah.
about?
Yeah.
Because they asked him a
But it's
question.
like
Look
it's
up the
on
video at
par.
Leisure, just
Tick-
Gary
it's probably on
Busey,
TikTok.
hot buttered sausage, and just not right now.
No, I'm
right
not
now.
gonna. I'll just note it.
We're on a
Notes.
podcast.
Notes.
We're
notes.
doing shit. You can do your live reaction. You go, what? It's only like a
no,
3
I'm
he
gonna
looks
bring him in.
insane, and it
He
looks
is insane.
just
Yeah.
like him. That's why I was like, dude, that's
Yeah.
gotta be real, right?
I mean, it certainly looked real.
AI is fucked.
In
Yeah,
the
I don't
in the same vein as the Black Cauldron and Return to Oz, but nowhere near as scary. A Michael J. Fox vehicle called Teen Wolf came out in 1985.
Basketball damn werewolf.
That's not a horror movie.
No, I'm just bringing it up because it's a werewolf movie.
Oh, fair enough.
Very much a horror movie that fucking rocks. Larry Cohen's The Stuff.
Yes.
Oh, love that movie.
Love it.
We've talked about this movie before on the
Yes,
podcast.
That is
too.
a good one.
Yep,
Just
very
like-
good.
just
That's
eat
another
that
one
shit
I
off the
would.
ground. I don't know where
love,
that came from. I'm eating it. right
Love to
now.
talk about. Yeah, that's the wildest thing. Let's just eat it. Let's just see what's up.
What's
with
this? Death?
that. Andrew, ever heard of a movie called Underworld, directed by Clive Barker?
Underworld.
Correct. Came out in
I-
1985.
Put it on my list.
Go for it.
Why
Watch
is
it.
it terrible?
I don't know. Never
Have you
seen
never
it.
seen it?
Yeah,
Never
that's
seen it.
why,
Never
as
heard of
our resident Clive Barker
I'm
stan,
surprised I haven't seen it.
I figured that I would
It's probably
ask
terrible.
you.
I got one more that wasn't included.
Okay, go for it.
This is a European war movie, a Polish war movie called
Mhm.
Come and See.
Come and see.
It
Okay.
is the most horrific war film I think I've ever seen. It's a brutal one.
Come and see.
Come and see. Okay.
That's going to be in my
Brutality.
blog for
Okay.
sure.
It's a good thing this was a bad, horrific war movie because I would have made a stupid statement.
No, dude, it's about like a little Polish kid that gets fucking kidnapped by Nazis. It's
That sounds
So it's,
really,
yeah.
it's
really
like
harsh.
this isn't a horror movie. This is just
Yeah.
a sad, depressive,
harsh,
brutal
dude. Yeah.
movie. Yeah.
By the way,
Sounds like I'll watch that.
1985, good year at the movies for non-horror too. We don't have to spend too long here. But speaking of Michael J. Fox, can anyone guess what the highest
Back to the
grossing
Future?
film
Yeah,
of
Back to the
1985
Future.
was? Yep,
That was my guess last week.
$193 million for Back to the Future.
And that's 85 money.
85 money, baby.
That's
That's
lots of money.
Oprah
a
rich.
lot of dough. We also got Kiss My Glad that you got that reference, both of you guys. Rambo: First Blood Part 2, number 2 at the box office for the year, 150 million.
Second
Awesome.
blood.
Yep.
Yeah.
Beverly Hills Cop, 130 mil after
Is
that.
that the one with, that's not Chris Farley.
No, it's
That's
Eddie
Eddie Murphy.
Murphy.
That's you're thinking of Beverly Hills Ninja.
That's
Yeah, Beverly Hills Ninja.
about
so-
9 years
oh
later.
my So randomly,
Yeah.
Chris Farley was in mine because I watched. I saw a video of. So he voiced Shrek
Yes.
for 85% of the movie,
Yep.
and then he died.
Yep.
Yeah,
And
that's
he's like, I
worked
listened
out.
to hear any of it. It was really weird
It's very strange.
because it's like you're so used to just hearing,
Mike Myers. Yeah.
doing like the most Irish, like
Yeah.
fake
Scottish.
Scottish,
Yeah.
fake Scottish accent.
Yes. Get it right,
That's
Andrew.
pretty good. But it's,
Let's see. Rocky
didn't know that.
Rocky
Yeah.
4 came out in 1985. Cool, 105
Really?
mil.
Rocky 4 was in 1985?
I would have figured that would have been like Rocky 2.
yeah.
When did the first Rocky come out? Like 78?
78, yeah.
Yeah,
Or
that sounds about right.
77, yeah.
Actually, so I apologize. So Beverly Hills Cop was released on
Beverly Hills Ninja.
December. Yeah, Beverly Hills Ninja. Beverly Hills Cop was released on December 5th of 1984 and carried over into 1985. It was still the third highest grossing film of 1985. Cocoon, The Dream is Alive,
Diabetes.
Witness, The Goonies at number 8,
Awesome.
61 mil, Police Academy 2, Fantasia, classic Disney movie, but I mean,
I thought that was old.
Yeah, that was
oh, actually, you know what? No,
That must have been like the
it was a
remastered
re-release. Yep,
Okay.
it was released on
It was
November
like
13th, 1940. Let's see.
It was probably 60s.
Some other ones here that are in here, just great 80s movies. A View to Kill, Europe, National Lampoon's European Vacation, Fletch, The Breakfast Club, Spies Like Us,
Smiles
Mask,
Like Us is awesome.
Pee-wee's
Mask.
Big Adventure,
Pee-wee's Big Adventure,
Yep.
top
Oh,
10 movie
dude,
of all
that's
time.
that's gateway horror.
St. Elmo's Fire,
It's
Mad
true.
Max Beyond Thunderdome. Let's see, what else here? Desperately Seeking Susan. Nope, not one of my favorites.
Do you know there's a new Fletch movie with John Hamm?
I
as
did.
Fletch?
I actually kind of wanted to see that.
I was like, John Hamm is Fletch? What?
The Care Bears movie made $22.9 million in 1985.
Okay.
How about that? Black Cauldron, Nightmare on Elm Street. Already talked about those. 101 Dalmatians came out in 1985. That's the
What?
animated one.
Yeah.
$20.3 million.
I think that was like early 90s.
Disney? No, that sounds about
The
right.
one with Glenn Close?
Yeah.
No. The
No,
cartoon.
No,
the
the cartoon.
The
original
cartoon is the
one.
one with Glenn Close as the voice.
No.
No, I'm
No,
not
Glenn
thinking about
Close
that one.
plays Cruella
Devil
DeVille in the live
Devil
action.
Wears Prada?
No,
Like,
Jesus Christ.
Wait a minute.
Yeah, but also I didn't realize that cartoon came out in 85.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's about
That's
right.
so long ago.
Yeah.
Let's see. I think
It
I think
was?
that might be pretty much it
Before I
for
was
in terms of
born.
notable movies here. But yeah, some absolute classics in here for 80s movies. I mean, Back to the Future, The Goonies, and The Breakfast Club alone. I feel like that's a trifecta.
Yeah, that's
for me
a
right
that's
there.
a banger.
Yeah, absolutely. Cool. Well, we've been going for quite a while here on Re-Animator. Got a lot off topic, but it's been really fun to talk about. Do you guys have anything else you want to talk about in terms of 1985 movies? In terms of, let's see, Re-Animator, commercials that anger us,
I have something
other
to
topics
ask, though.
before we sign
Why
off
hasn't
for the evening.
anybody created a breakfast club sandwich where it's like a club sandwich, but you get like 3 English muffins, one on the top, one on the bottom, one in the middle,
Egg,
bacon on the
sausage,
top,
bacon, and
egg,
cheese.
sausage, and bacon and cheese.
Well, you just gave your
You just-
fucking
yeah.
$1 million idea
Yeah,
away.
I mean,
you
Why did you
dumbass.
do that? Yeah.
Well, to what, 30 people that listen to this?
I mean, I would
I
would
mean-
bet my balls that there is a breakfast sandwich out there somewhere in the world
never
called
seen
the
it.
Breakfast Club.
Whatever town that
You've
movie
never
takes
been
place.
to
It has to
It has to
and where is it? Why isn't it? It needs to be marketed
In
better.
Chicago, there has to be someone that
McDonald's
sells a
should
breakfast
sell.
sandwich called
McDonald's
the
should
Breakfast
have
Club.
that. Ham, sausage, bacon, egg, cheese.
I have one question on Re-Animator.
Sure.
As I was just cruising through my notes. The overdose, when he gives him an overdose, and the dosage in general, because like head guy, he was taking like a couple
guy,
different
yeah.
doses.
Yeah.
They were trying to figure out. They had no idea.
But
They were
then-
like kind of scientists.
And then it, like he was like, I haven't tried this overdose. He does like the 2 syringes. But then what happened? Then he has
No,
this
but
like
he knew he
huge
knew he could do that.
intestine
So he said he
coming
had-
out, and it's like
That was
Yes.
the wormy
Like,
part. Mike.
There's some
Yes.
Lovecraft for you right there. Tentacles, baby. It's a
so
tentacle
that's-
movie.
that's-
I feel like we didn't even talk about it.
Is-
We didn't
is
talk
I
that-
about
think
that.
you're
Glad you brought it
thinking
up.
too much into it about how many cc's of the agent they gave
I just
them.
wanted to understand.
No one understands. They don't understand. They're just giving it like, here you go, willy nilly.
Overdose, crazy. Okay, get it.
Yeah.
Okay, explain. That's all I needed.
Yeah.
Just
That's my answer.
steroids, basically.
Because H.P. Lovecraft is my answer to both of
So
my
then his
answers to your
intestines
question.
become alive as well, and they're like,
Yeah, became
Okay.
like one of Cthulhu's tentacles. And just
Gotcha.
sucked him in.
gotcha. See, that was an answer.
Cool.
Answer my question.
Guys, final thoughts on Re-Animator. Now, obviously, this is a banger. We all love it. This is, I
Yes.
feel like, one of the.
Yeah. This is I already said
staple.
this is one of my favorites of all time.
And I honestly, I can't believe it's taken us this long to talk about this movie. I say this
Hey,
all the
good
time.
Good things come in a long time.
I mean, we're coming up on. we do
Good
one
things come in
episode
a long
a
time
week.
packages.
It's impossible for us to cover everything. We're getting to it. We're working on it. So
We're
we'll
good
get
thing-
to whatever
good
other
things-
movies that we say this about the next time. I
good
can't believe
things
it's
come in
taken us this
bunny
long to talk
bags.
about this particular movie.
It's not like we're coveralls. See, hey, you know the coveralls. The
Coveralls,
the,
hey.
the jean
The
pants
best part about that was the hey. Yeah, that was
Oh my
that was
God.
great.
when no one when you say a joke and no one
Hey,
responds.
All right.
Hey,
all right.
Goodbye.
We need to quit while we're ahead. Thanks for listening to another episode of America's Hometown Horror. My name is Mike. I've been joined by Andrew, Kat, and Matt. If you like our show, tune in next week. Wherever you're listening to us right now, we'll be there. But we're also on Apple, Google, Spotify, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, Spreaker, and wherever else you get your podcasts. Matt, Andrew, Kat, say good evening to everybody, please.
Good evening.
adios.
Bye. See you in September. Hey everyone, it's Mike from America's Hometown Horror, and I want to say thanks again for listening to another episode of our show. If you're interested in more local Plymouth podcasts, I'd highly recommend you check out the shows from our friends over on the Inebriart Podcast Network. In addition to America's Hometown Horror, you can find shows from Inebriart, the Old Colony Cast, Bar Talk, Theme Park Legends, and Retro Redoctopus, so head on over and give them a listen.